step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends, writing fungal code loops only my psyllium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg played a portal to a parallel vision. Many ships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order, make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep spawning culture.
Hello, testing. All right, mic's working. Hopefully gonna have some fun today. We've got a couple of things that we're gonna do with some cameras, and I got the setup back there. Well, over there you can't see it actually, but we'll give a chance for people to jump live on here. Oh yeah, I need to make an announcement on the Discord that we're going live. Let's see. We're live on YouTube, folks. At everyone. All right, there we go. Well, I hope everyone's having a great day. It is beautiful outside, and we might, once we finish the cardboard spot, I might just take the laptop outside and do the rest of this out there because it's just so beautiful. But what's up, Walrus Wandering? Live and in living color. Shoot, what was that show? Was that literally the name of the show? Live and in living color. Oh, it's a funk soul band, Tower of Power. It's an album. Gotcha, that's right. Super cool. You know, I've been actually going through a funk playlist these days. My dad played in a Motown band. And living color, yeah, there we go. My dad played in a Motown band, and I ashamedly did not go and watch him play anywhere near like I should. I barely did, and you know, we appreciate our parents as we get older, kind of thing. But the I went up to him and I was like, "Why didn't you tell me funk and Motown was so good?" And he's like, "You know, if you came away and watched me, you'd know." I was like, fair enough. Oh, wait a minute. Trampus. Is that a rune or is that a different symbol? I like that color blue, though. Get down with the funk and memory. There we go. Oh, man. Yeah, we should totally get a funk theme song going. A little soul or R&B. I got it. Yeah, I like that. Well, shoot. We'll start working on the cardboard here in a little bit. I'm going to give people a chance to sign on and see what's happening with everybody. I was just out in the garden past 5-10 minutes or so, just looking around the plants and mushrooms and logs and stuff we've got going, and trying to not have my allergies and not kill me. It is allergen season, so Funky Friday with Mossy Creek Mushrooms gets my vote. Well, that's pretty. I could totally do something like that. We're we're talking about doing I and a few other people in the network. I've got to reach out to more people. But I just reached out to 3 or 4 today because I had told Samantha, I was like, why don't we do like a mushroom cultivators roundtable live stream regularly, like once a week, or maybe just once a month or so, but. You know, to do it fairly regularly would give us a chance to have a whole group of people having interesting conversations, hopefully answering questions. I would like to have different aspects of what we do as mushrooms and fungi, right? I mean, it's Mossy Creek mushrooms, I get that, but I'd like to have some of the molds and stuff in there as well. So, you know, maybe we can do like a Funky Friday. What could you do as like a collective name for that round table that would have with funk, right? Maybe we could do something like that. A tattoo market cipher symbol. Market cipher. What is market cipher symbol? Market cipher symbol. Particularly on trading view. Oh, it's like a cryptocurrency kind of thing. Interesting. Or no, market cipher.trade is a EMA ribbon comprised of 8 EMAs that are blue, white, durable. Okay. Gotcha. Like the old disco bowling, Funky Friday Throwdown. I was hoping to have like an F, so you could have FFF, right? So you could keep that alliteration going. Or there you get Funky Friday, you get the Y at the end. I'm sure there's something there. There's something there. We can get there. But here in a moment, I'm going to move the camera over to mobile cam. Right there, we've got it set up for our little station where we're going to make some cardboard spawn. And excuse me. Oh my gosh, the smoke outside and the air pollution outside is crazy right now. Funky Fridays, the round table of lords and ladies. I mean, I would totally. So, yeah, like Funkadelics, like how yeah, they always have like these extraordinarily long names or like slightly complicated names. Reminds me of a Key and Peele skit where there's like they're just like saying a bunch of stuff, and he's like, I don't know, man, I'm just hungry and talking about space and trains and stuff. And they seem to dig it. We could do something like that for sure. Oh, let me silence my phone. Let's see. Okay. Why will you not silence all the way, though? There we go. Okay, that worked now. I've used the recycled cardboard bedding product as substrate, and it worked pretty well. Very clean. Is that the pelletized stuff? Excuse me, or the fluffy stuff? Friday Funkadelics. Could we take Funkadelics? I feel like that'd be trademarked. I guess if it's just a thing. Funky Friday Face Off. I like that. That's a good one. We will get it flushed out here, Andrew. At least the seedlings for the idea. I think we can do this. I think we got this. I think we can find some way to rope this all together. No, man. Well, so we've got let's see. Samantha's been working hard on Spawn. As far as updates go, the cold room is now starting its first action, which is super cool. We've got I've been planting seeds. I've got a lot of seeds. I've got I'll get started as well in my incubator, basils, and I want to get some more zinnias going to bring some more attention. We're growing water lilies and water irises off the spent mushroom substrate and the mushroom compost that we've got, and the mushroom leachate. I've got an anaerobic digester, and we have a leachate from that is working great. Just absolutely phenomenal as a liquid fertilizer for all this stuff, and it's all based off the mushrooms and garden garden trimmings and food scraps, so just all that mixed together, and it's just working phenomenal. So that's going really, really well. We just opened up and started selling plants this week. Makes me super happy. I've got appointments for people coming in, buying more plants. And what's kind of cool is the flowers are bringing in a whole new crowd of people who didn't even know Monster Creek Mushrooms was here. And so now we're starting to get people signed up for the CSA and the mushroom sales off the flowers, which I'm liking this because the mushrooms make the flowers grow. The flowers bring the customers in because they're going down the highway and they can see all the flowers here. Plus, we put up a couple of cardboard signs, hopefully with something. Samantha's wanting us to get like some banners or something. And yeah, like it's really coming together. And then the cold room is going to allow me to the high CO2, low temp room is going to help me get mushrooms grown all season. And primarily of the cordyceps, um, enoki, like king oysters, things that like higher CO2, things that I want more stimmage on. I'm probably going to experiment with some other stuff, but things also that I can grow in vitro and in the bags. We're even going to try some chestnuts that way. I've seen a lot of people growing chestnuts in the bags in vitro, and it seems to be working out really, really well. So that's going to be cool because that allows me a greater diversity. I also don't like chestnuts because I've got a mild allergy to them. So growing them in the bag and letting Samantha pick those, put those in boxes, seems to be a good way to go. So what's up, James Mundell, Mr. Woody's Mushrooms? Fridays of Funk. That's a pretty good one. Well, wait, why are we not doing fungi? Fridays, funky fungi. Funky fungi Friday. The fungi of funk. Fridays, fungi of funk. I don't know. Funky fungi. I think I've seen that name before somewhere. I'm trying to remember where I've seen that. Fluffy. The fluffy stuff. I was like, wait a minute, fluffy. Okay, I've not used the fluffy stuff. I've used the recycled paper pellets before. That worked. I used shredded paper from my dad's office one time. That worked out pretty well. Though I didn't like the paper as much because where it's white, you couldn't see the mycelium growing in it. That's necessary because I don't really see the mycelium growing in. I make a slurry liquid culture more so than anything these days, and I don't see the fungi, the mycelium in that. So, yeah, I think that the paper would work just fine. Hey, Andrew Valley. Hey, y'all fellow Myco monks. I like that, Myco monks. I've often I've had a lot of people don't know this, but after high school, I first went to seminary before I went in the Marine Corps. And so I did not finish seminary. I didn't like the bent that they took on the message, but I've always kind of had a monk, right? Like an affinity for monks. I like that kind of asceticism, even though I obviously all the books and stuff. I'm not an ascetic myself. Funky Fungi Friday Fet. Is that pronounced Fet? I think it's Fet, isn't it? Funky Fungi Friday Festival. Funky Fungi Friday Face Off. There's a lot of F's there. But you're going in the direction I like for sure. I like it. Fungadelic instead of Funkadelic. Okay. And you guys are. I'm gonna have to start shopping for names more often. You guys are going to have to help me come up with a name for that King Blue Pathfinder cross, the KBPF1 that I just released. I've got to have a better name for it. Fungi Fridays presented by Mossy Creek Mushrooms. I like this. So I've already talked to a couple of people. I've had a couple of people commit to it already, though we might have to change the schedule up. But we've got like Sam from Shroom Squatch. He just taught a large portion of our cordyceps class. I've had Ben Dooley of Spore Addict say he would totally be down to do it. Josh McGinnis from Everyman Bio said that he would be happy to help. And Jake Howard of the Mushroom Shop LLC, who, if you guys don't know him, he's always got some of the most interesting, weird, like mushroom species I've never heard of people cultivating for consumption, like the porcelain mushroom. It was a strain I got off him, a species that I got off him, and yeah. So I mean, right there, I've already got a good cadre of people, and I mean, like this is just people I was like, hey, I just thought of this in 10 minutes. What about you? What about you? What about you? And there's others that I've got listed, written down that I want to contact as well. So I think that we can make a pretty cool funky face-off throwdown festival fet. What is it? Is it pronounced that? I'm gonna look that because that's bothering me. Pronunciation. Yeah, it's just fet. Okay, I was right. Just want to make sure. You never know how my East Tennessee is going to pronounce it. So, all right. So let's see if I can. I'm going to have to mute myself over here because otherwise I get bad feedback. We're going to test a couple things real quick. Actually, let me. Yeah. Okay, we're going to just switch. Okay, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm gonna start the water boiling while you guys let me know if you can hear me or not. Trailblazer King. All right, so I need to move my computer out of the way. All right, so the first thing, oh yeah, let me know if you can hear me. I hear you with no feedback. Excellent. That's exactly what I want to hear. All right, so this is my favorite cardboard cutting tool. Yeah, you're looking at the desk. This is my hand cam. I mean, I can easily change it to my face, but then you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So we're just going to be able to do it here. So everybody can hear me? Awesome. Now, I've already cut a bunch of cardboard. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to start putting my cardboard in it. And then I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how I cut this. Because I can show you that while stuff is pasteurizing. So we just have like this, right? I don't mind using stuff that's got print on it as long as it's this kind of print. If it's the slick print in cardboard, like cereal boxes or anything like that, I don't like to use that stuff because it's oftentimes it's heavy metals. So I'm going to make some noise for a second. So we take these boxes that we use for shipping, and you can see we got some tape here. I don't like that. But what I'll do, I like these paper cutters. What I'll do is I'll just stick that through. This can go in the trash. You can use scissors. You can use all kinds of stuff. You can use paper shredders if you want to do it, but I find that cardboard spawn is easier to work like this. And you can use it in layers. And this will be a non-sterile spawn. So I'll use this for logs. I'll use it for all kinds of different things, right? And you can use shredded. Shredded's a little energy intensive, that kind of thing. We're just going to put this stuff in unicorn bags like normal, and then I'll take it back to the lab and seal it. We're going to pasteurize it. These little Sterilite bins work really well for pasteurizing this stuff. If you've got a metal pot, that works as well. But this stuff can layer. You just keep stacking it in your box. If you ever need to cut it, you can cut it more to shape. And I just like to use stuff that I get, when we're shipping stuff in. When we get shipments in or out, you can do this with stick spawn if you really want to. I feel like it's better when you're dealing with like sticks and stuff to actually use. You see cardboard? Good. That's what I want. I wanted you to see the cardboard. You can use stick spawn and you can pasteurize it. Though I like to sterilize when I'm working with stick spawn, and that would literally just be a bundle of sticks. And you take that and soak them. I like to soak them, then sterilize them, and then you can inoculate them with spawn or liquid culture even. Spawn's a little faster. Today, I'm going to be using a little bit of overgrown old King Blue spawn. This stuff is, you see it's starting to produce the metabolites. It's gotten a little beaten up. And what's cool about this is it doesn't have to be perfectly sterile because it's cardboard, right? And we're just going to pasteurize it. And of course, the cleaner everything is, the better. But you can use older stuff. and things that normally wouldn't be slated for normal, like grain to grain production or something like that. Yeah, it looks like Samantha gave me two things, King Blue. That one's a little better shape, but it's still getting a little overgrown, starting to produce the pockets of metabolite. So this is getting to the point where I'd want to use it or lose it. Hey! What's up, Exception? I pour boiling water on my cardboard and let it go to a field dryness, then inoculate with oyster. That's exactly what you're going to see, man. That's exactly what we're doing. Right now, our water is at 69 degrees Celsius. So we're just going to let it get a little bit further along. I'm going to keep cutting some cardboard. But one of the things I like about cardboard spawn is that it's easy. It's easy. It's quick. It's simple. And it uses recycled materials. And it makes it easy for me to, like, I can inoculate logs. When I do the chainsaw cuts, the kerf cuts into my logs, I can literally take the chainsaw, cut down, take a slip of cardboard, we're going to do this in a couple of weeks, and then just stick it in the logs. And that's so much better than grain spawn. Hey, what's up? What's up, Jay? Long time no see. I'm glad to have you on here, man. I noticed the glue is released from the cardboard, making it kind of sticky. Do you get that result? Sometimes. I don't worry about it. Back when I worked at the factory where we were making stuff like that, the glue was usually, I believe it comes from horse hooves, the cardboard glue they were using. Now, I personally wouldn't want to grow mushrooms off of cardboard for eating purposes. So we got a little bit of tape there. We're going to cut that tape off. I wouldn't want to grow, use cardboard as a fruiting substrate. But as spawn, I don't mind. You would just use a little bit of it, inoculate your logs, and then you're growing on logs. So even with that, I don't mind so much. So like you can imagine, now this will come apart, this corrugation. Oftentimes I find that it does, the corrugation will start to fall apart. Like, so you're saying the glue comes off, it does, and it'll make stuff kind of sticky. You can rinse that off if you want, but I don't really bother. But that corrugation will come apart, and then you've got layers, and you can literally layer and spawn and layer and spawn. Now, let me see if I got one in the fridge. Yeah, I left this one in a little too long. So here was a reishi that somebody brought me, and I wrapped it in cardboard, and I shouldn't have waited so long, but like, this has got some mold on it. I'm not going to open it right now. But what's cool about this is that you can take this reishi, right here's good mycelium, and right here, and I can take this cardboard and unroll it very carefully, and then the interior, because the mold shouldn't be down deep in the interior. In fact, you can see, you might be able to see the mycelium there. Let me see if I can refocus that camera. So there's mycelium in there, and you can take that and clone your mushroom from it. So even if it's contaminated here, you can take a chance. And so I literally just have a reishi stem, an old dried reishi stem that I put it. I did boiling water on the cardboard and then rolled it up. All right, so our water just beeped at me. My favorite thing almost in the world is these kettles. I love a hot water kettle. And so you would just take this. I'm probably going to have to do it a couple of times, but you're just going to very so carefully, as you can tell I am being, you want to pour that over. You want your cardboard to get good and soaked. Okay, I'm gonna have to refill this. We do our RO water in these 5-gallon containers. I guess I could have put the camera up so you can see it, but woo! We'll set that up for another boil. Or as we say here in East Tennessee, bowl. So this cardboard down on the bottom is hot. Oh my gosh, that is already quite hot. Let's see. What'd you say, Steve? Cardboard does great for all kinds of fungi, especially wood lovers. It's a great way to create outdoor patches without using grain spawn, which sucks because critters will destroy it. Cardboard solves this. Absolutely. That is absolutely one of the best use cases I've ever seen for cardboard. Wine cap. Wine cap loves this stuff. And honestly, if I had any wine cap, I've got wine cap ready to expand, but I need to go grain to grain first. But if I had wine cap, I would totally throw wine cap on this. Almond agaricus. When my almond agaricus is ready, I'll have that available. And I'll be doing that in cardboard and then planting basically cardboard stacks, with just chunks right into my garden plants right underneath the like tomatoes, peppers, things like that. Cardboard is a good way to turkey tail. That's an interesting idea. I've never tried it with turkey tail, but I totally have plenty of turkey tail I could try it with. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to try that then. Ow! Fuck. I mean, shoot. I think we're okay. I think that minor slip of the cuss is okay since it's past 10 minutes. But I try not to slip of the cuss too often these days. I'm trying to clean my language up. Cardboard works great for turkey tails. You can also put a twig with turkey tails into a bucket of water and they will regrow. So I have heard that, and I have wrapped, I've definitely wrapped like, hold on. All right, there we go. So I've definitely wrapped turkey tail into cardboard, and just like I did that reishi, and it works great. They do clone really well. I bet if you spore printed right to it, you could probably spore print and then remove the mushroom and thereby lower the risk of contamination. But even then, if you layer stuff up pretty well and then you get to it in time, you shouldn't have much mold growth or anything like that to worry about. So, hey, look, my Famarie's here. Or at least part of it. Let's see. How do I change back to that camera? There we go. Okay, cool. So, check this out. I've got this Black Magic switchboard, and that's what allows me to do all the camera stuff. You guys are actually on my cinema camera right now. And Teddy, hey, it's enough. That'll do. Would you inoculate the cardboard with wine cap or inoculate with sawdust spawn? Well, I mean, you can grow wine cap on the sawdust spawn and inoculate it, but or you mean the wine cap? You can do both. The big thing is wanting to get away from the grain, because grain, insects are after it, squirrels are after it, and myceliated grain. Squirrels love myceliated grain, and they might enjoy the cardboard even too, but it's not the same as finding little oat nuggets. Rodents in particular like the little myceliated oat nuggets. We don't want that. So cardboard seems to be about the safest way we've got to really produce outdoor patches. The logs, I love cardboard spawn for logs more than almost anything I've tried. It seems to hold moisture better than sawdust. It holds more. It doesn't get dug out the way grain does. That said, I've had grain sitting in logs and in beds, and as long as it gets into the wood chips and as long as it gets into the log before something digs it out, it works just fine. But that's kind of the big thing is you're trying to avoid that, right? You want to avoid it digging out or losing moisture or anything like that. And the sawdust just packs really well, and I mean it just fits perfectly into chainsaw cuts. You know, there's not a lot of work that you're having to do with it. Guys, let me give you 1 second. We'll just do a word from our sponsor real quick while I've got this water going and I've got to move a couple of things.
Hey folks, welcome to another sponsorship for the Mushroom Cast. We're always talking about dialing in your grow setup, and when it comes to humidity, there's one name we trust, House of Hydro. These foggers are an absolute game changer for mushroom cultivation. House of Hydro's ultrasonic humidifiers put out an incredibly fine, cool mist. So fine, in fact, that mycelium can actually uptake it straight from the air. That means better hydration, better growth, happier mushrooms, and better yields. And let me tell you, these things are way easier to vent around your op than setting up full-on plumbing pressure systems. No pipes, no hassle, just perfect humidity right where you need it. And when you're working with the best, you want the best support. John at House of Hydro takes care of his customers better than anyone in the game. If you ever need help, they've got you covered. And because House of Hydro is sponsoring the Mushroom Cast, we've got a deal for you. Use code MOSSY at checkout and you'll get a full set worth of free replacement discs with your order. It's up to a $50 value. Get yourself a House of Hydro fogger. Your mushrooms will thank you. Keep spawning culture, y'all.
Okay, so test. Okay, it works. We're going to just let that sit and finish for a second, and we'll go back to the cardboard spawn in just a moment. Sorry, I meant inoculate the cardboard with wine cap LC or with sawdust. Oh, I tried expanding wood chip spawn with straw and hardwood pellets. Looked good at first, but then mycelium disappeared. Unsure why. Yeah, that if you try expanding wood chip spawn with straw and hardwood pellets, that should work pretty well. That's worked pretty well for me in the past. Hey, baby. Oh, where's Daisy? Oh, is Stephanie here? Okay. Anyways, yeah, I mean, you could do both. I've actually got some liquid culture of some stuff I'm going to inoculate this with, and then hopefully next week I'll just show you guys the results, and we'll see how it fails or how it works out well. But we'll do some grain spawn to some, but you can do sawdust, you can do liquid culture. I feel like sawdust and grain spawn does a little better when inoculating cardboard. I feel like grain actually does the best, but cardboard is really easy. Like anything that likes wood, the cardboard, it will like the cardboard pretty much. So it looks like we're pretty close. Real quick, if you guys like environmentalist, ecological writers and stuff like that, I don't know if you guys know of Gene Logsdon, but he wrote a book called The Wild Asparagus. He wrote a book called Food from Water. That's how I was familiar with him. But I just started reading A Letter to a Young Farmer, and oh my gosh, I'm in love. He definitely reminds me of that rebellious spirit that Edward Abbey has, which I really, really enjoy. So, just a little book recommendation. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's kind of putting the passion back into farming for me a little bit, which, I mean, you know, kind of ebbs and flows anyways, but just the way he talks about it with such joy, especially he wrote that book as he was dying, like the last few weeks of his life. So I'm really, really excited to get into it. Hey, AZ. So yeah, if you guys like that kind of stuff or contrary kind of farmer type people, I think that you might like him. Kind of in the same vein, a little bit as like Joel Salatin, I guess, maybe, or the Carbon Cowboy guys. But hey, Samantha, is that kettle at 100 yet? Awesome, cool. We're gonna switch back, guys. All right, test. Absolutely. Okay, seems like you guys can hear me. We got some more water. We're going to add another batch of water. It's a little slower than I like. I really should have done this with like a big pot or something, but I think it'll work just fine. We'll probably do one more kettle for this, and then we'll just let it cool down to room temp and go from there. Let me get one more of these going. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback on the test. What about it? You want some? If you and your mom want to go grab a cup of coffee, go grab a cup of coffee. I don't want any more. My heart's about to explode today. You can ask your mom. I have been dancing and twitching like I used to when I had ADD. When I was a kid.
Oh my gosh,
And you don't need coffee if you're twitching.
No, like I'm dead right now, but where I'm in the cold air to walk in. But I like, after TCAPs, you're sitting here dead silent in the classroom, can't do anything for like
is it
2
TCAPs?
hours. Yeah, it's big TCAPs this entire week, and for like 2 hours, and then you get out. I'm the most energetic person you've ever seen. Like after TCAPs, I was dancing and Trevor.
I bet.
He's
I
like,
bet
you're
you.
at full energy right now.
Yeah, your mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I can't. I've had 3 cups of coffee and a Coca-Cola. I can't handle myself.
After that, I just died, and I went to track and was energetic and then died.
Ah, there you go. Well, track is good for that. Yeah, we got one more of these to do, and then we'll be covered up in the water that we want. So we'll just go back to the chair for the moment.
Oh my gosh, I feel like
All right, so we're back here. We're going to get that water heat up one more time on that kettle, and then we'll put it on a cool down, and maybe we'll go walk around the garden, or who knows? We'll figure something out. We'll go check some stuff out while we're waiting for that to cool down, and once we get back, we'll throw it in bags and throw a little spawn to it. So. Excellent. Thank you, Walrus. I am the Walrus. I forgot the next line. I am the something. I am the Walrus. Ben said it just yesterday, too. Will Teddy be part of Friday shenanigans? He probably can be. We'll give him a little high chair. You know? We can get him a little high chair and put him up here with us. I don't know if he would sit long enough. He might. I don't know. Teddy could totally be a part of it, couldn't you, boy? He's too busy licking himself right now. Oh, look at that poor chair. You going to put him up there? All right. Oh, the cat came when you called, too. Keeps on culture, Hendrix. Yes, that Walrus said, woof, the Teddy will be heard. No, we could see him there, but not now. There you go. He's not going to stay up there, Samantha. Power fluff. Maybe we should do like Hassan Piker or whatever his name was, where he did the shock collar to make him stay. We can make him stay for 8 hours. What an a-hole. Yeah, there he goes. There's Teddy. Lars said no. Teddy, would you want to be shocked? Teddy Roo wants to be shocked. Nope, he's not answering me. He's interested in you. Teddy Roo! There we go. He said the Teddy deserves better. He does. Yeah. That's my co-host, Teddy Roosevelt. What is it? Yep. Shoot. Oh, I forgot his long name. Teddy Roosevelt. Nathaniel Reed the Third or something like that. I can't remember. The Great Teddy. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a loud boy, but he's a good boy. He's definitely our mushroom dog. His mom, Truffle, was one of the best mushroom hunting dogs I'd ever had. So, you see her, Teddy? Yeah, I see her too. She's walking away from you, but you're staying in that chair like a good boy. Yeah, I'm surprised you're staying there. There he goes. I knew he wouldn't stay. Oh shoot! I forgot to turn that water where I could see it. Can you see it? 61. Okay. 61 Celsius. So we're getting there. Oh, she's gonna teach him. She's going to train him. Poor Ted. Look at the cat. Oh my God, he's meerkatting for it. He's begging for a treat too. Those are dog treats. You might hold it in front of him and see if he'll. Teddy, you've already got a treat. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose all my stream followers because we're too busy playing with the cat. Except I don't know. It's a cute cat. That's my Squanchy. Samantha will show us the way. Yeah, I mean for sure. He's Squanchy. He begs all the time. He's like honestly, he follows Teddy around. He acts like a freaking dog half the time. My mom came by today and saw him begging like that, and she just was like, "I don't think I could." He was begging for my dad was eating something, and Squanchy was begging him, and mom's like, "I don't. How can you say no to that face?" And my dad was like this, no, and mom's like, "I don't think I can say no." Oh gosh, but yeah, going back to cardboard a little bit. So almond agaricus, wine cap. There's some other stuff I want to do, like bluets and brick tops and uh, yeah, my little. Oh my gosh, he'll do about anything for a treat. Yeah, the all of those are like wood chip beds. So anything that you want to make like a mushroom bed out of, I want to play around. I've not tried it yet, but like chicken of the woods, maitake. Both. I want to try with those with cardboard spawn, and then I want to try logs of pheasant's back, and I think I'm going to do some cardboard spawn of pheasant's back at some point soon, because I can always get pheasant's back to grow in really well, but I haven't really got fruiting down like super well, and I think pheasant's back is one of those mushrooms that is prime for domestication. I think we got to get some strains in. We got to do some selective breeding, but I think pheasant's back will be amazing. Popping in to say hi. Hope all is well as always. Well, Michael Nerd, I'm glad you did, and things are well. Are you saying you hope that things are well as they always are, or is that you always hope that things are well? I know what you mean. So, sorry, I got distracted. I was talking about pheasants. All as well. Yes. Things are going really well. So we're actually, it's a little cold in here. Actually, I might throw a flannel on. I've got the vent is blowing right directly on me too. But so we've got the plant nursery that we started. We have the aquaculture system going smoothly. Samantha is catching up on grain spawn orders. We've got LC going out. She says she's behind on everything Moon Pearl and Grain Spawn. And that's true, but she's been working hard. She's been catching up. She had, I think we had 2 bad cooks in a row, and she got pretty self-dejected. She's like, "What's wrong with me? I can't make anything right." I'm like, Samantha, you've been making shit right for this whole time, and you've had 2 like runs that were bad. Like, yeah, look at her. She's all sad. But no, so we're getting stuff going. I've been doing a little bit of work on the back end of the website. I've got some the front end stuff I'm about to start working on, but like starting to get things smoother, descriptions better and more accurate. We really want to get ourselves set up as a yeah, go ahead and pour it in. Carefully. Here, let's watch Samantha pour it in. Don't splash it all over my computer. That's the main thing. Yeah, look at that. Blah, 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 blah. So what's really cool is when I do the video, I'm working on a video for Cardboard Spawn too, because let's just face it, live streams are cool and all. I love it, and I love that you guys join me. But we get, maybe 400 views on a live stream for people watching. We need one more. One more kettle. Oh, I misjudged that. But what's really cool is with the cinema camera, I can do 120 frames per second, which is slow motion. But yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Now, go. What? I'm showing the simplest, most low-tech way. Like I could create boiling water on a freaking camp stove or a wood stove, and that would be all I need. So, and we talked about sterilizing and that kind of thing. But yeah, go. So Samantha's been really hard on herself about it all, but I've tried to tell her. I was like, look, that's just farming. Um, she's always like, I've always handled the lab stuff, but I've been working really hard on all the outdoor projects and letting Samantha do the fulfillment and more of the lab stuff. And so I don't think she's used to seeing um, the failures that I'm used to seeing. I do remember. Um, I make it seem effortless. It's not effortless. No, it's in fact Samantha's success, even while sad, true farmer grit. See, like that's which I'll see the other comments. I'll get to those as well. But it's part of it. It's like I saw T.R. Davis say one time to somebody, and it was somebody was making fun of somebody for having contamination. He's like, look, if you're not seeing contamination, then you're not growing enough. Every farmer that grows any amount of mushrooms or cultivator will see contamination at some point. And the bigger the batches, the bigger the failures, but also the bigger the successes. So, but yeah, so that is a lot of what's going on, Micro Nerd. We're doing, been working on a few different aspects of waste stream management, log cultivation, outdoor growing, and starting our CSA. So we're doing a mushrooms, microgreens, aquatic greens, herbs, and peppers and tomatoes, hopefully in the later part of the season. And we're doing it all off spent mushroom substrate and other refuse, like the old, like last year's plants and stuff like that. Liquid fertilizer from our anaerobic digester that we were using for the leachate. So that that leachate goes to a liquid fertilizer that's just amazing for growing plants. The worm farm and all that kind of stuff. So black soldier fly larva, and then we're creating this ecological farm where we have many different levels. One thing feeds into the next, then feeds into the next, then feeds into the next, and each system exists off the previous layer of the system's infrastructure and waste stream, and then we allow those to build up. So we're working on all that, and so Samantha's been taking over more of the lab duties, and then we're both been working on the website, and I gotta get on the Patreon this coming week and get that tailored for next month, which I'm totally expecting a pay dip from that, so that's going to hurt. But I think it'll be better overall because we're going to have much easier rewards to fulfill, and we're going to have more numerous rewards, and we'll have it down to a flat monthly fee, no more per video stuff. It'll just be a flat monthly fee. We're going to have a class pass level. We're going to have a strain access where we're not giving strains out, but if you want a strain before everybody else gets it, a month or two in advance, well, we're going to open up some special access. We'll have some behind the scene videos, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot working. I'm burning the candle on both ends, but it feels so good to be healthy enough to do that. So I'm just thankful. Every day I start getting tired. I start going, man, I'm glad I get to be tired. Like it just feels good to be tired. I get King Blues in the UK. How do you feel about other sellers selling your strain? Hope that's not. It is a sensitive subject a little bit. That said, King Blue is kind of out there in the wild. I didn't have my terms and conditions on the website back then, so King Blue is one that I can't really stop or manage. Now, that said, there has been two farms that I think that were in the UK before I started shipping heavily to the UK that asked permission to sell my strains. But there are a lot of people that have not asked permission to sell the strains. And then they undercut, like I sell it for $30 because I really take a lot of care of our strains to make sure I give you guys I want you, when purchasing something, to really be able to fully expand it. And when somebody takes it and they're selling it for $5 a syringe, you know who you are, then there's no way you're taking proper care of that. You're just expanding and expanding and expanding. There's just no way you're doing proper care at $5 a syringe and really making it worth your while. And I don't like that. I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like But that said, I have terms and conditions on my website now. So if people buy from me, or if they buy an invoice from me, I put the terms and conditions in the invoice, and that has helped a lot. I don't have people stealing my strains nearly as much now with the terms and conditions, because I have my strains genetically tested now. And if I needed to, and I thought somebody was growing it, even if they had renamed it, all I have to do is buy it, and I can cheaply get a genetic read on it and find out if they broke the terms and conditions. So that's I don't know, it's one of those things for sure. It's a little sensitive, but it's gotten better. We've taken the proper precautions, and so I guess what I'm trying to say is I need to take ownership for the fact that I started selling strains before I understood the legalistic landscape of doing so. So that said, I've just got some things out in the wild that I don't have protections on, but all the new stuff do. What? Or the ramifications. How's that water? 82. Awesome. Yeah, or the ramifications of that kind of thing. So now the good news is that I got so dejected by all that I literally stopped selling new strains. So because we have these protections in place, and because they're working, and because I can legally back them up now, you guys are about to see a deluge of new strains come out. I just released a new one, the King Blue Pathfinder Cross. It's one of the few true improvements I've seen on the King Blue strain. Moon Pearl is another one. And it has much better blotch resistance than the original King Blue. So, I've been really proud to announce that. But we've got a lot more strains coming out. I've been working on a lot of stuff, and I've got a Pulmonarius program going right now, a Golden Oyster program, which that one, the only one that I'll probably be releasing of the Golden Oyster program will be a mutated version. That's kind of like the same thing, the King Moon Pearl. Yes, the Moon Pearl is in collaboration with Jacob Howard. So yeah, Samantha was saying that now that I know that that's a potential, I'm actually going through and mutating spores, trying to get the same result. I want to make sun pearls. I want to make a golden oyster that never caps out, never produces spore tissue or gill tissue to produce spores, and people can grow, get the gold flavor, and just a big lump of golden oyster flesh. It may not have the color. The blue oyster does have the color, but we'll see, because golds, oftentimes grow in that trunk, and I don't know if the gold will stick. But we're going to try a bunch of stuff and see if we can't get that. Yeah, because it's fluffy in the middle anyways. Now, not every gold oyster I've noticed grows from that similar trunk, but that seems to be the most common phenotype. And I think that we can make that a bulbous kind of thing, and we can get our solar pearls or sun pearls or whatever you want to call it. So it's like I said, it is a sensitive subject, but I need to take responsibility for it. For a long time, I got dejected by humanity or the way other people did, or culture vultures. But now, talking to plant people, talking to dog breeders and everything else, it's as common as daytime is. So one of those things that we got to do is look at ourselves and go, what can I do? If that's the weather, I can't control the weather, but I can control my response to the weather. And that's what I need to do. I can put an umbrella up. I can build an awning. I can build myself a workspace, or just stay inside and do something productive there. There's all these different things we can do with weather. It's the same thing with things we can't control out there in the world. So, Andrew, please give us your opinion on agar to grain versus liquid culture, your pluses and negatives for each. So the simple fact is that liquid culture is the single best biomass expansion medium. Agar is a little slower. I can dump 100 milliliters of liquid culture for an oyster into a 5-pound bag of grain and have that grown in like 5 to 7 days a lot of times. So the Samantha, I don't think people are going to care if they see you making a sandwich, Samantha. We're in the break room. We're literally in the break room in office. I don't think anybody's going to care. She's over here like, can they see my pickle jar? So I don't really have any negatives for agar. There you go. Everybody can see the pickle jar now. I don't have any negatives for agar. I think it's just the standard. It's the standard that everybody grows on. It's the easiest to accomplish. from a laboratory standpoint, like you can make a lot of agar dishes, you can store them, you can then work from them. Lisa, what's on the sandwich? I don't care if there's vegans. They're on a stream where people they live in this world. They know people eat meat. It's just ham and cheese and mayonnaise, and then she's got some sweet gherkins. She says she pronounced sweet jerkins. Um, but so liquid culture is for rapid expansion, but it needs really good quality control if you're running your operation on it. Agar is and so liquid culture is okay. Let me order my thoughts for a second. My ADHD is firing like crazy. Okay, so there's two ways that you can do, like two extremes, I guess, of the spectrum. And I would put agar in the center. Liquid culture, because of syringe cells and that kind of stuff, liquid culture is more accessible because you can cook it and it stays contained, and then you have only the needle opening when you're inoculating it. That is exposed. So it allows you to. Does chai tea have caffeine in it? Never mind. I don't want that. I don't know. I don't need more caffeine. My heart will explode. Huh? Oh no, black tea is worse for me than coffee. I can drink after coffee. I mean, I can sleep. I can't sleep after black tea. Okay, let's go back to it. So you get your spectrum. I think liquid culture is the easiest, most accessible to brand new people with no lab equipment. But on the flip side, it is the riskiest strategy because everything grows in it. Everything grows in it, right? So you've got a huge bacteria, mold, fungi. Will you pour the water in there? So you have that going on. So for the hobbyist, liquid culture is usually the most accessible. For the laboratory, growing a lot of stuff, being on the bigger end. What? How does your dad know what I look like? Is he watching the stream?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Mom said that you got stuff in.
Wait, is that my boy?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then he
love you too,
said
baby.
He does. I hope he's not saying that he saw it today though, because my mom picked me up.
No. Funny. Okay. Because this is the third time I'm going to try this one more time. It's got a spectrum. Agar is in the middle because it's the standard. Agar, you can see your contamination, but you need flow hoods or steel air boxes to work in. Liquid culture is the most accessible from a hobbyist standpoint, but it is also the most rapid way to grow massive amounts of biomass on the high end, but requires a lot of quality control. So for the hobbyist level, you're not producing a ton. It ends up helping a lot to be able to have that accessibility versus over here when you're growing let's just say, like, I don't even grow the massive amount, compared to, like, I'm not growing in conical fermenters like they do beer and stuff. And there are people that do that. There are people that grow vats of liquid culture, and I'm growing like 5 liter, 10 liters at a time in bioreactors. More commonly, though, I still use the 500 milliliter jars. So I just grow a lot of different ones. And so you have those extremes. That's the pluses and the minuses, I feel, is like agar, I can see it's clean. I can observe the mycelium. Liquid culture slurry, I can grow a massive amount really quickly. But if something goes wrong, I'm growing a massive amount of mold or bacteria, and that costs me money. And at the hobbyist side, I can literally put together a bioreactor and never open it again until I'm done and not risk exposure. And so there's very little, there's a smaller chance for contamination there, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I look at it. So even well said. Yeah. New Bance, hey, I saw your email. Did I answer it? Did Samantha answer it? I don't remember. You're in the queue to answer if I haven't answered you already. They deserve the wrath of Teddy for their misconduct. The culture vultures. Yeah, I definitely get that. I agree. I mean, that said, again, I just have to. You just have to accept it. Oh, I didn't know I could buy from you and get it. You absolutely can. Now, that said, we've turned international shipping off because of all this Strait of Hormuz stuff and all of that going on. Yeah, Israel has been the hard. Like Israel didn't used to be so difficult. Israel is all of a sudden the hardest place in the world to ship to for reasons. But the UK we're still shipping to regularly. France is probably the easiest place we've ever shipped to. Germany, for some reason, gives us trouble sometimes, and then no trouble. The UK has been really easy for me to ship to, but you have to email me, and we have to do an individual invoice. But you can absolutely purchase from me. King's Path. I don't remember what that might reference. Scuba, what's up, man? Afternoon, Andrew Samantha. Missed the first part, but be here now. Well, we're still working. Like the cardboard's sitting. We're letting it cool. Once it's cooled, we're gonna drain it. Once it's drained, we're gonna pack it and inoculate it. So we still got a little bit of time. When you have time, reach out. Let's talk about STX Palm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I need to pull that out of cold storage. I also need to look for the saw oyster for Jake. Saw oyster. Saw oyster. STX Palm. Oh yeah, we answered the sandwich. I will tell her you said nom 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 when she gets back. I am really wanting something though. I want something sweet, but I shouldn't. I did lift weights yesterday, but I usually have something sweet after I lift weights and not on my off day. I called. Okay, that was you. Okay, I am having a hard time keeping up with everything in my head. If I don't write it down, stuff doesn't exist. King Blue crossed with Pathfinder. Yes, that was the KBPF. That is King Blue crossed with Pathfinder. Well, technically Pathfinder's oyster. Because the guy that he actually found it is the first one that I cloned that was sent to me, and he sent it to me from Washington State. He was working for the Forestry Service doing. He was a plant survey technician for that season or whatever. So they would like literally public transit for a full day, get on a boat, spend almost all day on the boat traveling to where they were going, land somewhere, then spend days hiking to where they were surveying, do the survey for a few days to make the trek back. And he literally cardboard spawned a stem butt. He made stem butt spawn into the cardboard and then put that in a Ziploc bag and then mailed that to me, and I cloned from the cardboard. And that's how we got the Pathfinder's oyster in the beginning. So what is the best way to preserve mushroom genetics in a time capsule? Time capsule, huh? I don't know, man. Hey, Charles. Hey, speaking of, that's the guy that found the Pathfinder's oyster. We were just discussing it. I think it's in your box or your drawer. Yeah, you're going to go around the camera there. I've got a little setup where I'm doing. We're showing them how to make cardboard spawn today. Steaming cardboard. Yeah. Spawn. So like we're pouring boiling water over it, letting it sit. When it cools down, we do. We'll drain it, dry it, and then put it in bags and inoculate it. Well, Walrus said, "Thanks, Charles." I guess for the Pathfinder. Yeah.
Look almost as big as your face. Let's just squeeze on camera.
Yeah, that was a trick of the camera.
Everything looks bigger on camera.
Everything looks bigger on camera. That's true. That's why I look so fat. All right, man. Have a good one. She's just been dumping it in the composter. Okay. Well, either one's fine. The turning one's. Yeah, the turning one's probably the better, but yeah. See, time capsules. Okay. How long is the time capsule for, Hendrix? This I mean, usually they're pretty for a while. You know, are we talking like 20 years, 50 years? Like what kind of I wouldn't want to do slants that long. The Castellani method would be what I would originally jump to. So yeah, if you're familiar with the Castellani method, we've discussed it a few times before, but it's basically taking mushroom tissue and storing it in water, sterile water, with no nutrients in it. In fact, like reverse osmosis is great. So reverse osmosis, then sterilized. Even though reverse osmosis is supposed to be sterilized, capturing it that way is a little difficult. So I guess what I would do is probably spores in reverse osmosis water, and that would be the only way that I can think of that would actually work. You need me, okay? I'd be afraid the mycelium would have a hard time surviving, but the spores, you might get some that would survive long term. And that would be the only thing I could think of off the top of my head. I think there's an oil storage method. And I wonder if that might work, oil, or is it glycerin maybe? I'm having a hard time remembering. There's another method for that, but anyways, so I would try the Castellani method. If it's going to be underground, then a lot of times that's pretty cool. So that would slow down metabolism pretty well. And I think that the best way would be spores.
Sorry.
You're fine.
She's gonna come down from Tacos, so maybe that's perfect.
Okay.
She does very good.
Sounds good.
I'll see you later.
All right, man. Have a good one. Oh,
I will come over tomorrow. I know I've been saying I'm going to, and I've been getting other projects. I'll come over tomorrow, and we can
work on the boiler. Thank you. So yeah, that would be what I would do. So, in fact, what I would probably do, so you can do if you're doing spores. I mean, you could do mycelial scrapings off agar as well. But your micro centrifuge tubes, they're like a milliliter. You can have ones that are just a milliliter. You can mass sterilize those, so you can just fill them up full of, you have your little centrifuge tube holders, and then you can place them in there. You can have a pipetter, or you can just use a syringe to fill them if you want to go old tech. And you can literally just put sterile reverse osmosis water in there, close them all up, put them in a jar, sterilize them, bring them back to your flow hood, open them up. One at a time, you open, and you can literally just scratch a spore print, dip it in there, close it up, get the next, right? And then you can mass store spores. And this means that you can cram a ton of these into a very small space. And so I think what I would do is I might try doing some, I cannot remember the oil. It's escaped. I'll look it up here in a second, but I would do some with the water. I would do some with the oil. And if there's a third option, I think I might try that kind of thing. Spores are probably going to be your best option. Clonal tissue, I don't know that would work well. There's synthetic seed technology. If you're familiar with synthetic seeds from plant tissue culture, that I really think that you might be able to store mushroom tissue that way. I want to try that. I've not attempted it yet. I've not even made synthetic seeds from the plant material yet. So I'm going to try it. We'll see how it works. Man, this would be an interesting project, though. It would kind of suck to, like, if it's like 50 years from now, because I'm not going to make it 50 years. I might. We'll see. 90 would be an interesting age to see if that lasted. But yeah, I think that's the way I would go, Hendrix. But if you can let me know how long it's going for, if it's just a few years, we could probably do slants. Yes, yeah, that's what I was saying. Spores last longest, but dried spores do not. So if you can keep the spores hydrated, I think that's supposed to be the best way to go. So yeah. Cheers, Greg. Welcome. Mineral oil. Thank you, Nerd Nature. Thank you so much. So I think I would do some in sterilized mineral oil. I would do some in sterilized RO water. And I think I would store spores. If you really wanted to get froggy, you could try the synthetic seed storage, but that's going to be a lot more work. And then you could try storing tissue that way. Mycelium, white rot fungi in particular is pretty tough stuff. It makes me wonder if it stayed hydrated, would it eventually just shut down? Could it hibernate, for a long time? Get it lit. Get what lit? Sup, all tuning in late. Sorry if it was asked, but how are you setting up your high CO2 cold room? It's not been asked. Where? I can grab my phone and I can go out there and show you guys. Give me just a second to. Let me see if I can reach the phone while it's still connected to the headset. We can try this. Oh, almost there. There we go. Okay. Well, it helps to have the 6-foot long cord. Alrighty, so I have to. I'm almost there. StreamYard. That's the streaming software I use. Oh, this is going to be... Okay, I might have to mute myself here. Testing. Excellent. Okay, looks like it works. Look at my big mass. All right. So we're going to go... Okay. So this is just how I've got the cold room set up. You see our bagging station here. Honestly, I measured and then drew out with Sharpie, and then I just cut and just threw in a window unit. So there's my temperature control. And it's just my old walk-in. So you can see my cordyceps is over there. We don't have much in here yet, and I've still got to get the lighting hooked up and installed because all I've got right now is just that sitting. But once I have the lighting, I've got some T5s I'm going to throw in here. And then we'll start putting our enoki on this side, and we'll have spots for each of our mushrooms that we're growing. And we're just doing them in vitro. Right now I've got the air handler just kind of mixing air. But I don't mind it being high CO2, so I haven't put the exhaust vent over here yet because it's not heavily stacked or heavily stocked, But here, let's see. You see I just punched that in there. So stuff's getting really orange. And right here you can see like club development. It's a little harder to see through the bag. Right here some clubs. This is the Hades, or Hades, I guess they call it. That's Beast. These are both from Appalachian. This is from terrestrial fungi, and it's the mound. And I started seeing clubs develop on this just the other day. Well, maybe it was this bag. But yeah, so that's cordyceps coming through right now. And I'm not growing a massive amount, but I am growing a little bit weekly. So far, my favorite strain that I'm seeing, and we'll see how this stays,
is this Hades strain or Hades strain. And that is what I'm moving to right now for almost all the production because it's so fast. Now, I've heard it's not quite as productive, but I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of playing around that's got to be done. Those are just done during our class, so those are growing in. But yeah, it's just a real simple walk-in, big, thick insulation, insulated panels. So they end up being the foam with the not gaffer's tape. Crap, what do we call that? The foil tape, the vent tape, or whatever. But yeah, that's it. So it's high CO2 for now. We've got power up here. We got 2 outlets. So one will run the lights, one's running the AC. I've got to get this patched back in. I had to cut more to get the cable to fit. So I need to get this part insulated again as well. I can feel a little bit of cool air coming right through here, but it's keeping it cold. This thing, like, it's not running now. It's only run once today that I know of. And I do want to get it cleaned up. Hush. See how this is. Pretty warm still. Whew. It's not too bad though. All right. Man, I scratched my hand. All right, testing. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's the cold room. And I've just got it set to 65. I might set it down to 60, depending. But it's working really well. So it's been warm. This AC for this room, we have the airflow going to the lab. This AC is running all the time, and it's right above my desk. So we're about to move all this. Actually, this whole space is about to be changed. We're working on our studio. That's why you're seeing stuff just boxed up and thrown everywhere. We're building the new studio space that direction. So we're going to put flow hoods on one side because I'm actually going to be running 2 separate YouTube channels. And one of them is going to be the ecological farm that we're building, and one is going to be mushroom specific. Moss Creek Mushrooms is going to stay mushroom specific. And you got me a mango smoothie. Pineapple. Oh no. Were you trying to kill me? Oh my goodness. Thank you, girls. You asked me if I wanted one? 4 times? You didn't hear me say yes enthusiastically all 4 times? I answered you every time. Women, they never listen to you. I'm playing. Thank you guys for getting me something. And you're right, I didn't hear you. Huh? She said, I know I'm right. Good. You should know you're right. Never let a man gaslight you. And don't even let your daddy gaslight you. Oh, that's the way to do it. Glycol or something like glycerin as an oil, possibly. Yeah, I was thinking it was glycerin. I hadn't thought about glycol. But oh my gosh, that's cold, and now I'm cold. Maybe I'll take the laptop outside. I've not lost weight. Actually, I weighed myself, and I'm actually heavier, but I've lost a lot of fat, and my pant size and stuff is down. But I guess losing the fat, I am cold now. I never used to get cold, but I'm getting cold these days. But yeah, I think glycol. I think I've heard of glycol storage. Glycerin. I think I've heard of people using that as well. Mineral oil, I've definitely heard of, and the sterile water I've heard of. So I would definitely try both of those. As far as that goes, Hendrix has still not told me how long they were trying to store for, so they may be a little bit behind on the stream.
sometimes when people start that, the stream kicks them back or something. But or he may have had to ask the question and run. But I would be interested in knowing a little bit more about that project because that would be a cool thing to do. Spread the mycelium. Let's do it. Let's get lit and spread the mycelium. Okay, eat a handful of mushroom works too. I can't do that on stream, I don't think. that could go bad. The funk sees through us all. If you guys haven't heard, oh crap, it's by Funkadelic. It's Maggot Brain. Oh my gosh, if you haven't heard Maggot Brain, you should listen to Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. It's a great song. It makes me want to ride my guitar solo through the cosmos, is what it does. It's great to work in the lab with. Nice selection. Thanks for the peek. Are you going to add CO2 or just not? I'm just not going to exhaust as much. I'm going to allow the biology to work for me. And I have not run albino cordyceps yet. Amped, as far as like work goes or doing something, if it comes down to do something or don't do something, I usually don't do something, right? So that's the idea. Not as a like a laziness protocol, but like as a amplification. Hey, amplification. That should work out pretty well. But like I like livestock because livestock does all the heavy lifting for you, right? All you got to do is make the environment, prepare the environment, and introduce the organism to the environment in such a way that it thrives. And then after that, it does all the eating, all the transportation, all the growing, all the providing. And that's what I like. I like stuff that allows me to set up and continually harvest and not necessarily, what was it? Hunter-gatherers. It's an article, I think it's called Return to the Barbarians by Venkatesh Rao, which is ribbonfarm.org, which I think is now defunct. I think they've stopped operating that blog, and this was his much older stuff. I like their much older stuff than their newer stuff better. But Return to the Barbarian, he breaks down like 3 possible civilizational paths. One is hunter-gatherer, one is pastoral nomad or barbarian, and one is civilized. And he talks about civilized technologies, barbarian technologies, hunter-gatherer technologies. And instead of, like, he goes from a point of Veblen's fork, which is like, people tend to think in their mind that with the way civilization works is it goes from hunter-gatherer to pastoral nomad to civilized, and civilized is the absolute cream of the crop. Right. And civilized is what separates that apart is sedentary farming, the ability to externalize knowledge into the written word, the ability to accumulate wealth. So hunter-gatherers and pastoral nomads are moving. They don't get to accumulate a ton of wealth. You have technologies that the hunter-gatherers have, which is like fire and all that kind of stuff, the things that they brought. Then you have the pastoral nomads, which tend to stay on the move. They tend to focus on things that they can take with them, wealth building that is mobile in nature. And they also have a trait where they reap what they do not sow. So civilized civilizations, in this thought experiment, is civilizations, they sow and then they reap what they've sown. And his whole thing is that the civilized work harder to work harder, that they just don't stop. And like the barbarian cultures, the pastoral nomads would work harder or work smarter basically to get more free time. So you're not working to accumulate wealth so that you can keep working so that you can accumulate more wealth. Instead, you're working so that you can get more free time so that you can invest in yourself, because that's what matters, because you can carry poetry in your mind, you can carry ballads, you can carry skills, you can carry that kind of wealth. So they tend to invest in themselves more than outward externalized systems. And a civilization, or the civilized, invest in external systems. And then later on, he writes another article, which is boat stories, I think, and he talks about boat culture, and that's what I kind of try to go for. So when you're asking about not adding CO2, and I know this got me on a big thing. So the KISS concept, exactly. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's simplified. Boat culture gets to take some of the pastoral nomadism of like, I reap what I do not sow. I go out and fish. I trade. I do these things that a boat culture does. But I also have a port where I can stack wealth and I can build systems. And then you have a ship, which is a set of systems, right? And so you get this hybrid approach in these boat cultures. And so that's kind of what I intend to do is I tend to set up systems that help me accumulate wealth so that I can get more time off, so that I can invest in myself, so I can develop more skills, so that I can do more things to get more free time, to continue investing in myself and my family and that kind of thing. So I say all of that, and I go entirely in that direction, and probably lost half of you with my weird take on things. But I really enjoy that because the way it implies that is the CO2. I allow the organisms to do the work for me. So I close it up, and instead of pumping air in or increasing CO2, I just allow the organisms to pump out as much CO2, and I let them do the work for me, much as I would allow goats to go out and harvest the grass for me and turn that into protein, or sheep or chickens or whatever I'm herding, ducks, whatever. That kind of thing. I was interested, so we went there. Samantha for the save, indeed. Also, Amped, Shroom from Shroom Squatch, or Sam from Shroom Squatch, taught my cordyceps class, the last one that we had here, and he was talking about the albino, and he had advised me a while back that it's a little bit more finicky. So, but I think he also said that it really likes really wet environments, more so even than the wild. But I the wilder ones, I would rather have a little bit more resilience than pure production. I know the albino tends to test higher in cordycepin, however people say it. But it also tends to be more finicky and not as robust. And maybe one day I'll figure that out. But where Samantha and I talk about this, like, we are more generalists than we are specialists, right? We're focused more on the whole, total ecology. And because of that, there is no room for anything I've got to coddle. I don't have time to sit there and coddle things. So I tend towards as wild, like when I mushroom breed, I don't know if you guys know the selective pressures I throw towards my strains to weed out any kind of weakness. And that's one of the reasons why my strains tend to be so vigorous compared to many out there in the marketplace is I breed specifically for our substrates. I breed specifically for speed. I breed specifically for biomass production. And I breed for something that can tank less than ideal conditions. And because of that, it's more of like a neglectful breeding, I guess, how you would say it. But you set up selective pressures and then you throw the strains at it. And then those that don't make it through, it doesn't matter to me how cool a strain is if it doesn't tank the environments we want to throw at it. So, I think that's probably why I haven't really gone to the albino. And if Sam comes to me or someone else comes to me and goes, I figured out how to do whites really, really easily, then, I do also think that we can take like Ryan Paul Gates' strains, Jeff Maginero's, crap. Someone told me the other cordyceps breeder the other day, and I've completely forgot his name again. Anyways, if you can take these cordyceps strains that people have and start breeding them together with immense selective pressures, I think that we can breed more robust cordyceps strains and not less. And I would be really interested to see that. The stuff that I get from Jeff Maginero that is closer to the wild strains, they just seem like they're growing in faster. They're turning orange faster. They're producing clubs 2 to 3 weeks in advance compared to the stuff I'm getting that is more of the commercial varieties. Now the commercial varieties, from what I hear, tend to produce better, and like they have a higher yield, and so you're definitely losing some efficiency. But there's a price to efficiency, I feel like, as well. So, and Samantha for the save, yeah, she always thinks of me. It's just Samantha and I always try to think for each other, think not for each other, think of each other constantly, and I just really, yeah, yeah. That is normal when you lose insulation. Great job. Oh, talking about getting cold. Yeah. Well, fair enough. Yeah, it's I don't float either. We went swimming and I don't float as well as I did. Now that said, I guess where I'm stronger swimming, like man, my strokes are far more powerful. So it's super cool. I enjoy it. I think 100 years would be the goal for the time capsule. It'd be a fun experiment. He thinks, oh my gosh, 100 years. I'm never gonna know the answer to this. I want to know. I want to know. Why can't we live forever? Why can't I see all the things? Just FYI, mango season just started here and lasts till September. What? You guys have mango? Man, I like we're running out of jet fuel, man. I can't get to you now. I think they said jet fuel's the first thing we're running out of with all this stuff going on. People always put things in time capsules, and as we know, the best things in life aren't things. That's true. It's very true. I still think it'd be cool to throw a bunch of spores in there. No, what's the purpose of this thing? Sorry I'm late. Did I make it in time for the buffet? Absolutely, you did, Moose. Yeah, we're still waiting for that to cool down. Though it's not steaming anymore. So once an agricultural society is created, so too is the need to control a large mass population in a centralized location. Thus, more organized religion, governments, laws, gods, and hierarchies. That's an interesting way to put it. I would generally agree with that. I don't think that there's. I was gonna say I don't think there's necessarily a need, but rather a desire, but for control. But no, I guess there is a need. Like civilizations, the only way to be sedentary is to set up trade. The only way to have trade is to have infrastructure. Maybe there is a need to it then. Or unless maybe you're talking about like what I was thinking, which is the need, aka the desire to control people kind of need. But I feel you. That I will say that in plenty of nomadic societies, pastoral nomads like the Mongolians, though in that article he breaks down higher barbarians and lower barbarians. Lower barbarians being like true barbarians, higher barbarians being those that have come in and taken over a civilization and put themselves up as the royal caste, and then they tend to live a facsimile of their old pastoral ways, while living on the largesse or the taxation of the the civilization that they have below them. And Venkatesh was just saying that I guess the idea to him was that, yeah, for the last 100 years or so, we've seen civilization take on the leading role. But throughout most of human history, right? Not just humanity, but human history, there was this whole thing of like a civilization would form and rise, barbarians or nomads, whatever you would want to call them, come in and basically take on the leadership role, and are able to take over that society. Then they become higher barbarians. Then they become civilized. Then they too integrate and then become taken over by a next step. And I mean, you can see that with like the Normans, the Northern French Vikings, basically, from the various barbarian tribes, the Mongolians, that kind of stuff. However, I will say that even Mongolians in their lower form, and I don't mean that as a hierarchy thing, just in that classification, they tended to have a centralized. They had clans, and then they had a more central. I forgot what they called it. There was like a mobile tent city that was kind of their capital, that I think is now a stable or immobilized. Man, if Jacob was here, he could tell us. Jacob's Mongolian, so he. But yeah, I hear you there. Duck herder. Is that people herd ducks like in South, and then like I used to have runner ducks, and I used to have a staff, a walking stick that I had made that I'd hung ribbons on, and I trained the ducklings to eat at the base of that staff, and then I would go out in the morning and I would move that staff out, and then I would open the duck house, and they would go to that staff, and I would throw a little bit of food around, and then they would graze, and then they literally followed that staff wherever I would put it. And I thought about here with the water systems and stuff. I was like, how cool would it be to have little ducklings swimming around in that? But pretty sure codes would not like that. So I have not done anything like that. Boat builders use a tool called a tick stick for measuring to conform material into irregular shapes. That's an interesting idea. A tick stick. Is that because it measures ticks? It has a tick, 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 tick. Samantha, I'm vegan, but you do you. This is your home. Thank you, Karma. I appreciate that. I definitely didn't mean that like F vegans or anything like that. Like it's just I know vegans. I know plenty of vegans. They live in the world. They know what's up. They know that people do their thing, and I appreciate the understanding. Regarding the albino cordy's higher levels, I wonder if there's a correlation between pigment production and cordycephin levels. Well, I don't know. So the understanding for most people was that they thought the albino would test lower. And so it was a big surprise when Ryan Paul Gates had his strain tested and the albino actually tested higher. People were really, really kind of confused by that. So it's oh my gosh, it was a surprise. It was definitely a surprise. So survival of the fittest fungi. Yeah, man, and you can get a mass spore inoculation is like a freaking brawl, you know. Mass spore inoculations are a good way to go. I feel like for a lot of things. I think there's a lot of value in selective breeding. A lot of people are jumping straight to the genetic engineering mark, but I think what's interesting now is that the information of selective breeding. I think there's something there. I actually have thought about seeing if I can write a standard on breeding techniques, right? Like you typically see this, like you have dog breeders and they have their techniques. You have plant breeders, they have their techniques. Mushroom breeders, and they're starting to develop their techniques, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that there could literally be a common selective breeder language that could literally be like, here's how you find a species that's ripe for domestication. Here's how you collect. Here is how you go about applying selective pressures. Then you've got to look out for unique biology of said organisms, that kind of thing. So I think that that's a total thing that we can work with. Because like we breed, Samantha and I, we breed flowers, we breed dogs. Teddy is a strain of our own creation, as are his brothers and sisters. We breed fish, we breed peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of stuff. Mushrooms, obviously. And mushrooms are the thing we breed the most, but, you know. But the selective pressures are important. Now, the higher up you go, like fungi, it's pretty easy. Like, I don't mind culling fungi. Fungi, doesn't make me feel bad. Plants make me feel a little bit more bad, but animal life, like that's one of the reasons why I don't do as much animal breeding as I used to, is because I just don't like culling them as much. Makes me sadder because now, I mean, there's two different ways to cull. One is to kill and, get rid of, but the other would be to, like a buddy of mine had a dog that they wanted the breeders wanted to remove it from the population because he had a mouth defect. So they ended up having him sterilized, right? So he was neutered, and that's a way that you can cull and still have an animal with a happy life, kind of thing. It's called yurtistan. They do live in yurts, and man, some of those look comfy too. Holy crap, downright homey. Bury something for 100 years and dig it up, and it's still alive. That's what I'm wondering. Like that would be like, can you imagine 100 years from now? I was about said 2027, but I meant 21, 26, and you unearth something that we buried, and it's just like a spore library. Like, what does that even look like 100 years from now? Have we nuked ourselves by then? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is a gold mine. Or are they like, oh, look at the primitive genetics they had back then? Or Or are we even not on this planet anymore? And we're like, they don't actually open it 100 years later. They open it up like a million years later. Why did they put this biosludge in here? Multispore inoculation is the royal rumble of it is. Yeah, it's kind of I call it when we do multispore. I tell Samantha it's like it's the praying mantis XX because they all hatch out and then just start eating each other until some of the ones are left. So, all right, let's. I'm going to test this water temp real quick. Let's hit another sponsor, and then we will be right back.
Imagine a world where the most unique, rare, and powerful mushroom strains are preserved, studied, and shared with growers like you. That's exactly what we're building with the Mycologium, a living archive of fungal biodiversity, sourced from the wild, expanded in the lab, and made available for researchers, growers, and curious minds alike. But here's the best part. You can be a part of it. If you're a bioprospector, a forager, or just someone who loves finding cool mushrooms in the wild, you can send in your samples. If you send me in a wild mushroom and I can successfully clone it, I'll send you back a cleaned up culture of it. If you send me a culture that you've already cleaned up yourself, I'll send you one for our library, ready to grow, experiment with, or add to your collection. That's right. Culture for culture. You help expand the library, and you get something amazing in return. The goal? To preserve fungal diversity, to give people access to new genetics, and maybe, just maybe, to discover something truly groundbreaking. So if you've got an interesting mushroom, a rare find, or a strain that deserves a place in the archives, send it in. Let's build something incredible together. The Mycologium, preserving fungal biodiversity, one culture at a time. Want to learn more? Hit us up, shoot us a message, and let's keep spawning culture, y'all.
All right, testing. Awesome, we're here. This stuff it feels cool enough. I've got some liquid culture, and we got our spawn. I'm going to pour this water off. I just got a bucket down here that I'm going to pour it into. Bubbly. Now, some people really dry their cardboard spawn out. I don't like to dry it out completely. We're going to test a couple of different methods. I'm going to do this barehanded. I did just wash my hands during the break, so there is that. My hands are washed. But I'm going to do this barehanded, and we're going to see how well this does. The next week, we're going to check it out. So I'm going to take about half of this, and I'm going to throw some in this bag. Some people are careful with this. As you might imagine, I kind of just plant stuff in however it'll fit. I do like to put the corrugated side up and down. I feel like the corrugation catches a little better. Okay, we'll drain a little bit of that. That is definitely a little wet. All right, and just so this doesn't sit out for a real long time, I'm gonna go ahead and open these. This is King Blue oyster. This is our most recent batch bioreactor. I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna spread it out. A lot of times I like to put stuff in a concentrated. Boy, it smells good. But we're not going to concentrate this. That smells really sweet.
So I did about 30 milliliters there. And I'm going to fold this up until I can take it in the lab and seal it. You can just use regular plastic bags. You know, we're not doing anything sterile. So you don't have to worry too much about keeping things sterile. And so unicorn bags are, you know, they're like 40 cents a bag, so it's a little more expensive that way. All right, now, when I'm working with the spawn, which I do need to take and cut open, as soon as I can find where I put my scissors. This is also King Blue. And the King Blue, as we know, is one of my favorite first children. It's one of the firstborn. Oh man, that spawn smells good. And then we'll talk about a couple other things I've been trialing out that you guys might be interested in as soon as I get this stuff laid. So I'm going to throw just a little bit, and I'm going to flatten it out. We'll take a handful of spawn, and this is me doing this by hand. I'm not pouring or anything. We'll throw a little bit more spawn. Or cardboard in. You do not have to do every layer. Some people like to do every layer. I'll do a couple sheets thick. But you see how this corrugation's coming apart? I forgot who mentioned the glue earlier, but it's kind of like that where the glue just starts to come off. Throw a little bit of grain in there. Now, this is not actually my favorite way. It's probably the easiest way. Sawdust spawn, I feel like, might be a little better if you want to do outdoor beds, as we were discussing earlier. And you can spawn really thick. The more you spawn, the faster it'll grow in. But do that, let it lay. We'll throw some spawn in, let it get in the grooves. And we'll just keep layering this in. And again, this corrugated stuff, that's my favorite part. The corrugated always seems to take really well. It's got a little bit more texture to it, so I feel like mycelium sticks to it a little easier. And this is a nice low-tech, non-sterile way of doing this stuff. Now, if I have a lot of Tree of Heaven out behind my shop, and I'm working on a video about using that Tree of Heaven, we're just chipping it straight into bags. Or, I mean, we're chipping it and then bagging it, and then just spawning it. I have taken some and sterilized it and used liquid culture for it. I would like to try using liquid culture straight to non-sterilized bags, but I have not done so yet. But yeah, this grain will stick to all of this cardboard. So when I take this to make sheets, or like I would pull these sheets apart and put them in the beds out front, or into logs, there's still going to be a little bit of grain, but it won't be anywhere near as much. And again, if you do sawdust spawn, that's not as big of a deal. And there's another advantage to the person asking about the pros and minuses of, or pluses and minuses of, LLC versus agar. Agar will inoculate sawdust spawn much easier than LC will. You can still inoculate the LC to sawdust, but your sawdust has got to be wetter, and you really want to use more of the liquid culture than what you normally would to really get sawdust to take. And some things work really well bulk or liquid culture to bulk sawdust, but you have better luck if you
if you don't. I lost my train of thought. That's my bad. All right. So I'm just going to take this. This right here is non-sterile, obviously, and I can use this to do all kinds of stuff. I can just throw it out. I can give it to people that come and give us eggs for spent sub and stuff. Because their chickens will love this. They'll eat it up like crazy. I can take this and I can inoculate wooden dowels, wood chips, stuff that I don't care if it's sterile or not. I can use that to inoculate logs, and now I have a log inoculant. I mean, I could use this to inoculate logs if I really wanted to, but again, you have bugs and squirrels and all kinds of stuff that'll start trying to dig it out. Rodents love this stuff. All right, so all I gotta do is rinse it out, and we'll seal those bags. I'll seal them after the stream, but that's it, man. It's so easy. It's so easy to make cardboard spawn. This is quite a bit of biomass that will eventually be ready to use. And hey, there's cell treat. Boop. All right, let me wash my hands of this mycelial stick, and then I'll be right back.
Testing. There we go. All right. I wonder with mass spore inoculation, how many actual distinct dicaryons there actually are versus a few dicaryons gobbling up monos via Buller phenomenon. Yeah, I actually wonder that myself. Like how far can that really go? Like how many monos can it gobble up? Can it gobble up an infinite amount of monos? Is there a limit? Based on the biology of how many monos it can capture. It is an interesting thought. I have a lot of wonders about that as well. Is that why Rocky Top came from a spore mass inoculation? And I wonder sometimes if that's why Rocky Top is so polyphenotypic, where it has a white phase, a blue phase, a brown phase, all based on different environmental pressures. Is that way because it was bred multispore? And with mushroom breeding, I find that, you want to do every kind of breeding, really. Like, you don't want to just stick to one type. But it also makes me wonder if that's why some strains perform better, is that spore mass inoculation allows for that battle royale. Number one, you're picking the biggest, the biggest, best, fastest, most aggressive strains. But then are you also getting multiple sets of genetics that can help in, like, it meets an environment and it's able to help it adapt to that environment better? You been outside? She get her letter? And she was dropping off compost materials? That's another thing, too. We get our friend network and we get as much compost materials as we can from people to add to the mushroom blocks. Oh, nice. Actually, with all the Strait of Hormuz stuff, we're talking about doing a group buy because, some of us have businesses, and the agricultural business allows us to purchase things in bulk with an EIN number. So we've been talking about trying to do that where we're buying like rice and beans and like just stuff that we use every day, not like crazy prepper stuff, but like if we're going to be facing some food volatility and price spikes, we'd like to be able to buy that stuff in advance and then have some buffers and then take advantage of
bulk discounts by having like 20 families buy in, and then I forget what they call that, but like a food distribution hub. But there's a name for it now that escapes me. Almost forgot. If I wanted to use mushrooms to break down piles of wood that have been sitting out for a long time, what strain would do it fastest, and how could I do it? Spray LC on the piles? I wouldn't spray LC on the piles. Cardboard spawn would be a good option. Sawdust spawn would be good. Wood chip spawn. You want something robust, meaty. You want to think of it like, so LC has no battery, is the way I look at it. LC is capacitor driven. If you know, like, so the difference is a battery stores energy that can be used over a longer haul, so because it stores more energy. The capacitor can store energy and then it releases it like all at once. So what I would do, the LC, think of it as a capacitor where it's like you get a ton of biomass and it hits that grain and it starts chewing that grain. But it doesn't have much battery. There's not a lot of fat reserve kind of there. Whereas if you got a big fat wood chip or a piece of stick or something, you've got a thick amount of biomass for it to launch from. And that allows it to overcome obstacles, to outlast the competitors, to do all that kind of stuff, to have some time to figure out all the little nooks and crannies it can grow into to gobble up some territory, that kind of thing. So that's how I would inoculate it. That'd be the easiest way. And then you ask what strain. I mean, you want something aggressive. Wild strains would probably do better. Something like the Mossy Creek oyster that we have, that's a pulmonarius. Pulmonarius is something I would probably go to species-wise because it just eats and eats and eats and eats, and it's super aggressive, super fast. At least around here, it is one of the more common oysters we see around here. So that's probably what I would choose if I was here and doing the same thing. My dad turns 99 in June, so I have hope. Yeah, right? That said, the men in my family don't tend to last that long, but I do take better care of myself, I feel like, than a lot of the men in my family do. I'm already past the point that my dad had his first heart attack. I've not had that, but I did have COVID knocked me into the hospital and gave me some lung scar tissue and that kind of stuff. So who knows? I'm pretty comfortable. If I got to go, I go. Do you think that possibly making an LC solution using water boiled with wood chips or cardboard could aid increasing mycelium's ability to leap off? Yeah, okay, so this is something I was actually going to talk to you guys about. I'm glad you said this. You can, but you can even go cheaper than that. Like, I took reverse osmosis water, and okay, so I took some cut logs, just fresh cut, like hardwood logs, and stuck them in a bucket, just up and down. It was halfway out the bucket. I then took reverse osmosis water, and the way I was thinking is I just wanted it to not have a ton of nutrients and stuff in it, though. Now that I think about it with the wood, it doesn't really make much sense. You could probably just use tap water if you dechlorinate it. But filling that up with water, and then I dumped 500 milliliters of liquid culture into it, and then I put an air bubbler in it, and I just bubbled that bucket and had mycelium growing all in to the logs and stuff. They eventually developed kind of a bio sludge on the outside, but then when I took them out and wrapped them, they started growing. Huh? She says gross. I love biosludge. I love biofilms. I don't know what it is. I love the swamp sludge. I love it all. But she calls me Shrek in my swamp. So, too bad Ogre's not in here. He'd get a kick out of that, I think. I wonder if we could take cardboard pieces, put them in a bucket of water like that, add the mycelium, and then have that bubble away. Would that, and then pour it off after a few days. I knew the reason what gave me an idea was a guy did this, but he put sugar and salt in his bucket with morel stem butts and then bubbled it, and it grew a ropey mass. And then he poured that bucket out around his trees, his apple trees, and then it grew. The next season, it grew morels where he had never seen morels before. But then he had to move the next year, so he's not sure if it took. Mycelium loves growing in those grooves on the inside. Oh yeah, the corrugation. That corrugation is just absolutely crazy. Definitely always pull the flat layer off paper to expose the corrugation. I've been falling more and more in love with low-tech ways of growing mushrooms. One of the things I'm looking at is if I wanted to go completely off-grid, how would I do it? So I have a solar panel set up. I have my battery bank over there, the Yeti 500. And I can charge my DeWalt batteries off that. And then my DeWalt electric chainsaw, I'd be able to cut stuff. And I could either do bundles, or if I've got a chipper that I could use, I'll use a chipper, or, you know, who knows what. I mean, you can literally just use bundles of sticks for it. But at Amped, once a strain is selected, make spawn plugs and insert the plugs into wood. I mean, plugs work, but I would do kerf cuts instead of plugs. Kerf cuts are faster. Just like cut with a chainsaw and then pack that cut. That is way faster than the plugs. I like plugs. And when I'm doing classes, I teach plugs because that's the safest way. I don't want a bunch of brand newbies handling chainsaws, right? But the drills are much safer than a chainsaw for somebody who doesn't have experience with tools. But the plugs end up being labor intensive. If you do just a few of them, I think that, you know, it's not so bad. And if you've got the angle grinder with the bit on it, that helps, but plugging still. And plugs are faster than, I feel like, the sawdust one, because you got to load it every time, whereas you can just grab the plug and then set them in, and then somebody can come behind you and just hammer them. You can do PF Tech brown rice flour also to avoid grain spawn problems for wood chips, cardboard, and even cocoa manure substrates. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a billion ways to do this. But the most important part's the carbon source, especially if you're doing spawn. A little bit of nutrition to help it have a little bit better leap off, and that's, I mean, you're good to go at that point. You want something cellulosic, a little bit, something with a little bit of lignin. Cardboard's got a lot of lignin in it, and a lot of cellulose. Seems like Buller phenomenon helps to create slight genetic diversity to increase survival. It also saves all those single monos from being lonely. Poor singles. Yeah, the genetic diversity, I think, is an important thing. Like, it can operate as a dikaryon when you have that ability to incorporate other genetics. It, for one thing, it actually saves those genetics. It's not just killing the competition; it's absorbing, right, and preserving those genetics. I think those genetics can still be expressed in mating. So, one sec. And this mango pineapple is good. This is like addicting. Hooray! Hooray! She says that she gets me addicted. Nah, I know. Hooray that I like it. Brian Rogers asks, "At what point will it affect our group?" I don't have an answer for that. There's a lot of factors, and I'm not an expert on logistics entirely. I would say that I'm kind of an expert at this point in agriculture in some ways, and from what I see, like, I saw the stuff from COVID in the beginning. I was like, okay, we're gonna have some food shocks, some food price shocks, based on just that. And the problem with agriculture, especially commodity agriculture, is a lot of times it takes a year or two before you really see shocks. But this is a little different because fuel prices go up. and that increases transportation costs. And grain is typically transported, and so are most commodities. And so I don't actually know when it'll take effect, but I do think that it is going to be quicker than the COVID spikes. Um, the COVID food shocks and stuff that we felt. I don't know. I can't make any real predictions, and nobody should invest entirely on my own evidence. Um, but it is literally just Captain Black, Atomic. It's just Captain Black pipe tobacco. But I do think that we're going to see some shocks. I think that local food production is going to be really important. The good news is the United States produces tons of wood and sawdust, and we've got plenty of pellet mills, so I don't think the sawdust is going anywhere. Jet fuel prices are going up, and I think they've already said that because that's going to be the hardest one to replace. And then like you've got tractor fuel, so diesel. You've got transportation, diesel, trains, mostly diesel, I believe. Most of our power plants run on coal, though we've got nuclear here. So that's gonna, depend. Natural gas plants. Actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if natural gas might be more than coal. And some of these things that we produce plenty of in the States. Some of this stuff we don't. And I'm not entirely sure as to all of them, but I do think that the trade situation. I know Samantha was talking about the USDA is literally telling farmers to plant food. Please plant food, plant as much as possible, plant more than normal, that kind of thing. But we've got other factors too. Like there's a major drought going on across the Midwest, I think. And they were talking about, like, some of the people I talked to out there were saying that the grain was literally not sprouting in the field because there wasn't enough rain. And we are one of two counties, like the entire state of Tennessee is in drought except for two counties, our county and the county next to us. So there's that as well. I don't know. It's going to be weird. And so producing food is important right now, I think. I think trying to get into food production, even a home garden, even from a hobbyist scale, is a good idea. But I do think that the ability to produce food is going to create buffers, right? That's the biggest thing, is creating as much buffer as possible. And it's there's a lot going on. Hey, do you have some tips on how to handle buckets after harvest? Did you break and shake the substrate and hydrate, or something else? I never really did buckets. I never liked growing in buckets, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. I would imagine that I would probably just fruit once or twice and then dump it and then replace it. But to me, buckets, I never liked buckets because the bags were one, and you could do fruit once or twice, throw away the bag, keep the substrate out of it. That said, we're experimenting with log fragmentation fruiting, which is apparently a style that's practiced a lot in Japan. That's actually where I found out about it from. And the log fragmentation fruiting is basically you inoculate a 6-foot log, right? Kerf cuts, inoculate, let it grow in for 6 weeks or so, and then you cut it into 1-foot sections, and you place those 1-foot sections into your grow room. And that allows you to produce indoors off logs. And that might be a really good way, is to have just a little bit of log infrastructure, a simple chainsaw, and the ability to call up some local landowners and be like, hey, can you deliver some wood? Some of us are not going to have that option. People out in Arizona and New Mexico, they're going to have a much harder time with that. So they're going to have to keep importing that stuff. But creating another product stream off your waste stream will help you insulate for prices, right? So like us with the plants, it's one of the reasons why I want to do the plants out here, was that I can take my waste stream, I can grow these aquatic plants. Lots of them are edibles, water spinach, water celery, watercress, duck potatoes, Taro grows great for us through the summertime, and tastes a lot like a starchy potato. What else? I'm missing something else. Water chestnuts, though, you don't need a lot of substrate for that. They tend to, you want those in cleaner water a lot of times. Aquatic flowers. I'm really surprised. We've only been selling the water lilies and water irises for a couple of days, and I've lined up a lot of appointments for tomorrow. But I also, the first day that Samantha put 2 cardboard signs up there, we kind of, I'm not gonna say we killed it, like I didn't make my entire investment or anything like that, but I made a decent chunk of change in like an hour of sales, and all of that was grown off of spent substrate, right? Stuff, and it's literally spent substrate, water, plants, top off the water occasionally, and they just print themselves. You can get into it and you can divide them and you can work them harder, but you don't have to. So that's kind of why I go with that method. So what I'm saying with that is I'm looking for ways. Buckets might be it, but buckets get brittle too fast for me. I think log fragmentation is kind of where I'm sticking with, just because it's the easiest low-tech method I can really come up with. And the density of wood means that you get surprisingly large flushes off that. And if you do the kerf cuts, the labor is actually the labor cost is about the same, if not less, than making bags a lot of times. So gotta make your spawn and all that kind of stuff. But okay. Atomic says you're what's up, Atomic? That's a really cool idea. Experiment with the bucket and wood and LC. Yeah, so like it just spreads that mycelium out, and you just like that's what you were doing with the water, right? Is you're spreading that mycelium out, and 500 milliliters is still quite a bit, but in a 5-gallon bucket, 500 milliliters is not that much. But you get that bubbler, and it spreads all that stuff out through the logs. It clings to the bark. You could even I didn't experiment with this. I mean, I did have the cut, the log sank where it had just been cut. But if you did some kerf cuts in that, I bet mycelium would grow in those kerf cuts. It would get inside, and it would be past the bark barrier that way and into the cambium, which is what you want. You want it in the cambium and in the wood channels that go up and down, the vascular tissue. Missed what you said earlier about the cardboard tips. Can I find the video on your page? I don't have the video out yet. I'm working on a video, and I'll have it released soon. But the main thing was when we took cardboard, we cut it with just like a paper slicer. I wonder. Oh, my camera. Oh, I wonder if my camera died. But you have that. Pour boiling water over your cardboard after it's cut. Let it sit till it's cool. Then you can pour the water off. And then we literally just bagged it. And we did 2 different methods where one we bagged and then sprayed liquid culture all over it. And then one where we bagged it, bagged a little bit of cardboard, put cardboard spawn in it. And it doesn't have to be the most sterile technique. I did it barehanded. And I did it out here in the kitchen break office space. So yeah, that was, like I said, it was just Captain Black. I saw that. I know I answered that already. My bad. I forgot who's doing it, but I saw a site selling mushroom trees. I think the roots were knocked with morels. Very cool idea, but long-term project. Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to do with plant tissue culture. But what I'm working with plant tissue culture is I learned with easy stuff like peppers and tomatoes, right? Those are already easy to grow and propagate from seed, so you would never really do it with plant tissue culture, but they're easy and forgiving, so it's a good way to learn. And then from there, the idea is, okay, can I take tree tissue, grow it in a sterile way, grow morels, combine them in the lab, and then bring them out? I think that way is going to work. It's showing some really strong promise. I definitely tried, last year I tried wine caps with sterilely grown tomatoes, and that worked out really well. And that way each tomato plant now becomes, you can grow like 1,000 tomato plants in a little cup, one of those little deli cups. And then you take those out, and actually before you even take them out, you spray a little bit you take a needle and spray a little bit of liquid culture down at the base of them, let it grow for a few days, and then you take that and you transplant those into plug packs or whatever. And that way, each tomato plant now becomes a wine cap inoculation point as well. And then when you put that out in your garden, they all go out there, become that inoculation point, grow out, and then form that mat back. I agree. It's going to hit different. I'm a little concerned. I'll put it that way. I don't normally talk about how I feel about that stuff, but I'm definitely a little concerned, especially about transportation costs. It's going to make people that transport large volumes of things, I think, have to pay more, and fairly considerably. And people, the more you're like importing, like I sell liquor syringes, I fully expect for spawn to sell less as the transportation costs go up. And what people are going to want is a little piece of, sterile tissue that they can amplify at their own operation and then add it to locally sourced materials. Oh yeah, as opposed to I got what you're saying. What about soy hulls? That's going to be a harder one. The good news is that we produce a ton of that here in the States. We're a net exporter of soy, so I don't think that we're going to have a problem having it. I do think that we're going to have to be competing. So already there's expected to be famines in the world. Not, I don't think here in the States. I think in the States we're mostly fine. I think Europe is going to be taken care of. Australia is going to be hit pretty hard, but I think that there's going to be food. I don't think that's a problem. But what I do think is that soy is going to be exported. Now, the question is, if the soy is processed, the hulls removed, and then it's shipped overseas, and we're competing with the world market as they're paying higher and higher prices for food, then, if we're exporting that, but we're keeping the hulls here in the States, we may actually have cheaper soy hull prices, right? Because farmers will be growing more of it. They'll be processing more of it, selling it to overseas markets, and then there'll be hulls left here. Now, if they're shipping it with the hull on, I don't know. Maybe it gets a little harder there. So it kind of depends on what direction things go. And I don't know that there's anyone that can tell you what the logistical circumstances are going to be. And so I think the biggest thing right now is to build. If you're worried about that kind of stuff, I think the best thing right now is to build maximum optionality into your operation. As much as possible. We've leaned into efficiencies a lot, and I've seen other farms lean more and more and more and more and more into efficiencies. And I think efficiencies are great because they help you lower costs and produce a better product and more of it. But I think right now that in a time of volatility, it pays to have resilience. It pays to have, again, resilience, by my definition, is maximum optionality. What can I do? Can I produce food in a way that makes economic sense to me? And I think that people, even if this is not a catastrophe, which I'm really hoping, praying, and don't think that it's necessarily going to be a catastrophe for us here in North America, but it is going to be volatile. So being able to pivot, and again, I think maximizing your waste stream, okay, if you get paid for the mushrooms, right? And then you've got a waste stream product and you get paid for that product that you produce with that waste stream product. And then you have another one that feeds into, and another one. Then all of a sudden this layered approach allows you to import an expensive thing, if it gets expensive, but it allows you to import this expensive thing and then grow 4 or 5 layers off of it. Just by your systematization. Oh my gosh. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. One of the things I'm really interested in, I used to have a biodigester. It got damaged by an employee. And I never did get another one. And now I'm kind of wishing that I did, though the ones I got last time came out of Israel, and I don't know how easy that would be to get one. But a methane digester. What's interesting about biofuels and mushrooms is that if you take a lignin-rich material and you grow oyster mushrooms on it for 6 weeks, it reduces the lignin content something by 40 to 45%, which makes it more easily digestible for things like you wouldn't typically put wood in a biodigester. But if you take myceliated sawdust and you throw it in there, all of a sudden you're going to have much better access. And I think that was mostly for ethanol production, but it would work for methane production. And a farm producing some waste, allows you to get 6 to 8 hours of cooking on a couple of different gas eyes, that kind of thing. That 6 hours of cook time on 2 gas eyes allows you to sterilize spawn, right? And biodigesters back then weren't that expensive, like $1,200, which is expensive. But when you're talking about a farm system and infrastructure, that's not that bad. And then, yes, it may be cheaper to buy propane or something else, but you don't have to worry about it. You're cooking off your own waste, that kind of stuff. Then they have the toilet kits and all that kind of stuff that you could get into if you really wanted to. But like, I'm interested in that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of different options. But what I mean is just, I think rather than trying to guess or time or go, I think this is going to go up or this is going to go up, the best thing that we can do, like again, the economy is weather to you and I. You and I do not have the ability to influence the economy to a great degree. So it's weather. We can only control our responses to it. And I think the safest thing to do is to build optionality, but not at such a pace that it wrecks your ability to survive the short term or to provide for your family in the short term. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that, as far as like soy hulls or wood prices or grain prices. Just, start thinking, just kind of think about this a little bit and start looking into, what if I have to source a different grain? What if I have to get a local source for grain? Maybe contact a couple of farmers and go ahead and start buying from it. If it's $1 extra per 50 pounds, that's crazy cheap, right? For that resilience. That's a crazy cheap insurance plan. That kind of thing. That's the kind of strategies. It's like an overall strategy more than any one detail kind of thing. Drought here in the southeast too. Well, yeah. I mean, here in here in Tennessee, we're feeling it, and I've heard that it's a southeast. I think most of the nation is in some form of drought or close to it. So, guys, let's take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Silurian's elixir of mycelial mastery. This isn't your average culture mix. It's a revolution in a packet, crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle, the hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's elixir of mycelial mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
Guys, I have new sponsorships on the way, a new sponsorship video. So I know we're all a little bored of the same old sponsorships, the same 3 that I've got already made. But once the studio space is done, you guys are going to see a lot more video work out of us. This is actually going back to my conversation with Brian there. Part of the Strain of Hormones plan I've got going on, which is I want to document what I'm doing here, how we're engaging with the local food economy again, and strain testing and all that kind of stuff that we're doing. And I want to get that information out there, right? Because I feel like it's more important than ever for people to start producing food locally. And I want to be able to help with that as much as possible. Even like I said, if you're producing food at a hobbyist level, that is great because it gives you even more optionality. So that said, Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery doesn't cost much to ship, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. I highly recommend you trying some. I thought it was very interesting that most terrariums found in nature were monokaryotic. I wonder what's the ratio of mon versus dimons creating dicaryons. So I've not looked into that much. I am aware of that study. And I thought that was interesting as well. And it makes me, I don't know if you saw the other study, Steve, where they took monokaryons of wild strains and of domestic strains and dikaryons of both, and found that the monokaryons of Hericiums, or at least of lion's mane, it may have just been lion's mane, or it may have been Hericiums across the board. I can't remember. But you'll find this interesting, I think. They found that they grew faster and had better immune systems and immune responses. They gobbled up more territory than they did in a dikaryotic state. And that's interesting because most of the time, most species perform better when they're in their dikaryotic state. So I postulate that, I hypothesize that the Hericiums have a strategy of a single spore lands and it takes off like wildfire. And then at some point, sometime down the line, another Hericium spore lands near that mat, and it is now able to mate. So it's almost like the, what's that fish that's got the little angler fish, is that what they're called? And where the male is a tiny little thing and he just attaches and then just fuses into it. That's kind of what I'm imagining, is like, you get this little spore and it just lands and poop, and now it's just part of the great organism, right? The rest of the network that's already been built. Sam Celia, hey, what's going on, man? Dude, first time I've seen you live. Wow, thanks for the super brain load. I'm totally on board with low tech, as I've seen great results with less stress. I'm one of those growers that follows impulse instinct techs once I get the fundamentals. Me too, man. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Regarding morels, I've been referring to V2 Tech, but definitely, let's see, V2 Tech is the, it's not the Chinese method, is it? But definitely looking for options and building, perhaps building a tech of my own. Outside of that, growing back to my roots for the most part, perfecting oysters and great sillies. Thank you. You're very welcome, Sam. Glad to have you with us, man. And thank you for catching me. It fruits while being mono? No. The Hericium does not fruit when mono. It just spends most of its life cycle as mono. At least, maybe I shouldn't say it spends most of its life cycle as mono. Most Hericiums found, like when they did blind prospecting, that's the biggest thing, is that they drilled into wood, they grew fungal cultures from that, they DNA tested those, confirmed they were Hericiums that way. There was no fruit for them to pull from, that kind of thing. The fruiting requires a dikaryotic state. I don't have citrus trees. I used to. I would always forget to bring them into the greenhouse before they got frosted, and they usually died on me. So I've never had good luck with citrus. It's crazy to me. There's a guy that was in Athens, Tennessee, which is a town I lived in for about a year when I was about kindergarten age. But there was a guy down there that had greenhouses, and he was growing bananas. And of course, this was when I was in kindergarten, so we were talking like 35 years ago. And he had banana trees growing like crazy. He would sell bananas. I'm almost positive that the cutting of the logs for fragmentation initiates the logs to fruit. That's what I'm thinking too. That's what they were saying too. The problem was it was a Japanese manuscript. This is one of the best use cases for AI that I can come across, is that you can take a Japanese or Chinese manuscript and put it to the AI, and it will translate it greatly, really well for you. But again, that is kind of what they said, is that the shock of being cut apart ended up the mushrooms would fruit on the cut side, right? So if you take a log and you fruit it, now if you're cutting in the middle of the log, you got two cut sides. I don't know if you can cap one with plastic or if you're just going to have to set it to where it fruits over the whole thing or what. But kind of like shiitake, that smack, giving it a shock like that. I wonder if you first did an anaerobic ferment with the logs and then do your bucket bubble tech with decreased contaminants. I don't know. But again, I'm not worried about contaminants so much when I just need the mycelium to get in there. Once it's in there, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried if mold grows all around the log. That doesn't bother me. Or bacteria, as long as it's not getting into the wood. And that's the thing, is white rot fungi have evolved to pierce deep into that wood, and bacteria and molds have not. They can only pierce, molds, maybe a little bit. And bacteria are surface level, right? So, yeah, the fire morels are good. I don't feel like they're as good as the blondes. The blonde mycorrhizal morels, what we around here call blondes. You got blondes and grays, and I don't know the species names of each of those. I just know they are sac fungi versus the basidia, which are the white rot fungi and stuff like that. Were you getting contamination without boiling water? That's a great question, Brian. I don't actually know. I don't think I ever just used regular water. Um, for as much as I talk about not doing something, there I was doing something without ever having tried the other way. I'm gonna have to try that, Brian. I don't actually know. I'm glad you said that. That's one of those things that's so simple that you go, why didn't I think of that? Everyone else boils water, so I boiled water. Speaking of, that is an interesting thing I think as well, is that they've done studies. And they had this box with a mechanism that unlocks it, right? And they would go up, and if you had a human baby, right, a human toddler or whatever, and you went up to the box and you went beep, boop, bop, and then click, and it would flip that mechanism. It would open, and you could get your treat or whatever. And then when the toddler goes up to do it, the toddler usually beep, bop, boops, and clicks, and then gets the treat. It goes, it worked, right? But when you do that, and then you show the chimpanzee, typically the chimpanzees would just go right up and hit the click. And what they found was that they think the reason for that is that humans are what they call high fidelity imitators. We see somebody do something, we see it work, we try it, and it works. And then a lot of times we don't think about the removal. That has to be like trained into us, is to think about removing pieces of that. We repeat things with a high measure of fidelity. And so you go, oh, well, you think we're the most intelligent species, right? So we would obviously go right for the thing that worked. But the chimpanzee has a more direct kind of approach, and they just saw the click, and the click worked, so they go with the click. And they're not necessarily high fidelity imitators. And I've always thought that was interesting. What an explanation for so many things that happen in human cultures. Local is where it's at, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love my commodity rice, right? I love that I can get rice for 3.6 cents an ounce. That just warms my heart. The fact that, how many people throughout human history have been able to get an ounce of rice for 3.6 cents worth of work? That is just phenomenal. That is one of the great things about commodity agriculture, was that. There's a lot of bad that goes with it. But don't get me wrong, if I was trying to buy rice from the guy here local, it'd be an arm and a leg. But I want my vegetables freaking local for sure. And if I could get cheap rice that was local, I would totally do that. But I'm a huge fan of the local. I like slow food as much as possible. There are times when I think that it does make sense. Commodity farming does make sense. I don't think it makes sense to the degree that we've been doing it. Don't black morels grow after the forest fires? I think it's blacks. I think black morels are the ones that grow after the forest fires. I think blondes are the mycorrhizal. I think they call them fire morels, black morels, ash morels. I don't remember what else. They're typically out west, I think. We did see some, I think, out here when we had that forest fire up in Gatlinburg. But that's the only forest fire we've ever had near me in my entire life. Do you still have it? I could probably come and figure out how to repair it. What were we talking about? I don't remember what we were talking about that I needed repaired. I agree. I'm still tweaking my veg burner. What's a veg burner? Can spent substrate blocks be used immediately as soil amendment for growing plants, or do they need to go through a compost? So, yes, that you can use it, but they will get hot. So usually the best way, if you're going to use it fresh, we're selling a ton of spent substrate blocks right now. I go through and I compost mine all winter typically, and I use a little bit in the spring. And it depends on how you're using it. But again, if you top mulch, it's usually a little easier. But you don't want to plant your plants directly in a mass of fresh substrate blocks because they will get hot as they break down. You can till it in. You can kind of lasagna garden it to where it's like in layers and it's not, or it's like a top mulch and your plant roots are still down there in the nice and cool. In fact, if you do that, a lot of times what we do is we do a top mulch, we scrape the top mulch aside, and then we put potting soil all around it, or fresh compost, or not fresh compost, but aged compost. Plant your plant in that, and then as the roots spread out, hopefully the rest of that stuff is dying off. The heat's not being produced. If you're growing aquatic plants, one of the nice things about that is you can take a little bit of spent sub, you can crush up a block, take out a little bit of that spent sub, throw it in a half barrel or something like that in the bottom. Hey, buddy, what are you meowing at me for? And and then you top it off with water, and then you throw a piece of duck potato in there, or another like some water spinach. And what's nice about the aquatic marshland plants is that they like high organic matter, so they don't mind that you just threw a bunch of organic matter that's going to rot down. They're already evolved to try to pull oxygen from the air and send it down to the roots. And they produce a lot of I forgot the name of the root tissue that goes deep, but it doesn't mind methane, high CO2s, or I guess they don't mind that anyways. But the methane is one of the problems. In rotting material, you get a methane buildup, and that can be highly toxic to organisms. But a lot of the marshland plants don't mind that. They're constantly living in a muck anyways. Might go rocket stove. I love rocket stoves, especially rocket mass heaters. Do you have a shellfish allergy? I might have to be that. No, I don't, Jake. No, in fact, shellfish is my favorite food. I love if it comes in a shell, it's my favorite food. I like shrimp, lobster, crab, mussels, clams. I like grasshoppers. I think they taste great. A little land shrimp. They're just a bitch to catch sometimes. Yeah, basically, if it comes in a shell, it's my favorite food. And I've heard that too, but that's not something that I have. For some reason, chestnuts just they make my lips really bumpy. They give me blisters between my fingers, some sort of sensitivity. How did you manage some blotch resistance from two blotchy parents there? Pathfinder and King Blue both seems really blotchy. Pathfinder is a little less so once you take it off soy. I noticed that. Like Pathfinder's oyster really seems to like not soy. I got rid of all of my blotch problems when I got away from soy with Pathfinders. That's like the first time we ever grew the most perfect crops time and time again. As far as that goes, I tested a lot of them. That's what happened, man. I tested a lot of them. And that's how I got that. Jacob, speaking of earlier, we were talking about Mongolians. And I'm trying to think, wasn't there in the ancient days, not now, obviously, or maybe there is now, I don't know. But back in the day when your ancestors were pastoral nomads, wasn't there like a centralized government or like a clan of clans or like some sort of mobile capital or something like that? Am I wrong in remembering that? Like we were talking about that earlier when we were talking about Venkatesh Rao's writings of the hunter-gatherers, or the Return of the New Barbarian, I think, or the Return of the Barbarians or something like that. Using barbarian as a euphemism for pastoral nomads versus civilized and hunter-gatherers. Yeah, let me know, because I think there was, I swear there was another one. Someone in the chat said it was Yurtistan. You might get a kick out of that. I'm going to hop off and I'm going to contact you. Please do, Brian. I hope you heard me say please do, but yes, please do. Oh. That is interesting about the mono-aggressiveness. I think that the fruiting probably occurs due to a daimon situation. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm always willing to be wrong. But yeah, I think that's the case. Good wooden logs are hard to come by here. There's something with a lot of citrus wood for cheap. Do you know if common gourmets will grow on orange, lemon, grapefruit, etc.? I don't know. We can do a cursory Google search for it right now. Will oyster mushrooms grow on citrus wood? Yeah, it will. They are aggressive decomposers that thrive on a wide variety of deciduous materials. The pleurotus species will colonize citrus wood, though it may take longer than preferred wood. So it may just take a little bit longer, but there you go. And that's from the Forager Chef, which I tend to trust is pretty good information when it comes to food and forage. I've made many successful cardboard spawn cultures without boiling, but boiling will increase success. If you don't boil, inoculate heavily ASAP. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I mean, that just makes a ton of sense. And thank you for sharing that, because I definitely didn't know. Local is unfortunately too expensive for the average person. A lot of times it is. We're doing our CSA box. We're doing a big CSA box for like $40 a week, but people do have to order it up front. And yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's the people that have got a little bit of extra cash flow that are able to buy that. So yeah, we'll see. I do think that I'm thinking that local food producers will become much more like attractive, because we'll be able to like keep producing a lot of times at the level that we are already producing at. And therefore, it's the commodity agriculture, I think, that's going to be hit the hardest, is what I'm saying. So if you've got a small farm and you've got some optionality built in, then you can kind of just, you might change the way you're doing things, but you're still going to be doing things. Where the commodity agriculture, if fuel jumps up 2 times, if it doubles for tractors, and then obviously that's going to have a big impact. But then you got to think, if diesel doubles, then it's not just the farmer pays double for fuel, but the transporter pays double for fuel. The wholesaler pays double for fuel, and now you're talking about a much larger food increase for commodity ag, because commodity ag is grown in a centralized area and then distributed widely, whereas the smaller farms, the local, a lot of them are already doing things that allow them some optionality, or to source local materials, or labor has always been their big hang up, kind of like us here. And if labor is your biggest hang up, well, then all of a sudden, when the low cost mechanization fails, then the labor becomes more competitive there. So I do think that it's unfortunately too expensive for the average person now, but I do think that it's possible we might see it become a little bit more competitive. The biodigester. Yeah, I actually wondered if I might have been able to fix it too, but we've already thrown it away, man. We threw it away like 2 years ago. It's been a long time. I'd appreciate the offer, though. I wonder if a methane trap could be made for cement blocks. I'm sure there could be. The biggest thing would be put it in water. So the way I saw other people do it was to have like a large 55-gallon drum, the smaller plastic drums. This was on some group that was doing aquaponics in the inner city a long time ago. But they built that. You flip the smaller bucket upside down, and you put a bulkhead in it and your gas line, and then you set that in, and you've got liquid, and you put your liquid and your feed into that 55-gallon drum, and you have some escapage, out the sides, but it fits there, and they put a cage on top. So basically, as methane builds up, it builds up in that 30-gallon or 40-gallon drum or whatever, and it floats. And as it floats, then it hits that cage. And then as it hits that cage, it starts to pressurize. And now you have a pressurized gas line. And that was a pretty nifty little setup. Then you put a burner on the end. And methane's a low pressure gas, so it's much easier to plumb and work with than a lot of the others, like LP gas or whatever. Yes, there almost always was a government. Effectiveness and power of the steppes might be a subject to question. We didn't just disappear after Genghis Khan. We were still here, just smaller. I gotcha. We had some power until the Qing Empire. The Manchu from old China manipulated us into internal battling, which is a strategy since the Xiongnu days, our ancestors, even till this day. So Xiongnu, is that how you say it? That would have been when the Mongols held the higher, the elite tier of society or whatever. Local farms that sell locally are much better for the environment. I agree, in all kinds of ways, not just like carbon production, but all kinds of ways they oftentimes are. Areas in the world with lots of fresh water sources will fall. Areas in the world with lots of fresh water sources will fall. Fun fact, you can make cheap graphene with graphite and paint it on floral foam. Add foam to bucket of salt H2O in the sun, fresh H2O and cold. Okay, Steve, you're putting a lot of information in a few words here. I think I see what you're saying. But why will areas in the world with lots of fresh water fall? Both our neighbors have old phrases of Mongols that are united are war, Mongols that are apart is poor. Ouch. What heartbroken there, man. Oh, God. That's the same for the Scots-Irish, though. As you and I have talked about, the Scots-Irish that I come from and the Mongols that you come from tend to have a lot of overlap, it seems like, culturally speaking. A pony raiding culture, nomadicism, livestock dependent rather than plant dependent, and typically divided, but as soon as you get them united, they're like fearsome. Oh, man. So it's already 2 hours and 45 minutes. Dang. Time's flown by tonight. And it's still daylight out there. That's probably why it doesn't feel like it's almost 8 o'clock. Oh, check that out. Edward Grand. And I think I've already told you guys about this because he was on here last time and I asked if I could share. But um, he is going to be teaching a breeding mushrooms class for us. And so I am very excited about that. We're going to get him on here to teach mushroom breeding. I've got a couple of feelers out for some people doing a couple of feelers out for someone to teach another extracts class. So I'm actually the one that we've got this weekend, I'm going to push back. So anybody that's watching this, I also got to send the email out tomorrow, but we're pushing that class back until I can get word on whether we got this new teacher coming in or not. We got a mushroom breeding class. I've got a couple people I'm feeling out for DNA extraction and some other stuff. But this is I'm trying to take people who are experts more so than I am in certain areas and then give them my platform and pay them to teach for us. And then I'll sell the class for them, that kind of thing. And so I'm trying to do something that hopefully enriches the specialists as well as the provider, but yeah. Oh crap, y'all rode ponies too, but yeah, I forgot they called them all of a sudden. But yeah, it was a type of pony because the borderlands that the Reavers came from, the Scots Irish, was kind of a rocky, wetlandy, marsh-ish area, and the ponies were able to navigate that rougher landscape much easier than horses were. So, what are you drinking? Cherry meat? No, this is Samantha got me a mango pineapple smoothie when she went to go get herself a cup of coffee. She and my daughter went and got some coffee. Listen, now we gotta get ready for it. Looking forward to the workshop. Me too. Ed is here. Woo! I was wondering if I was gonna see you or not. I was gonna say normally it seems like this timeline gets your morning. Will fall due to lack of fresh water. Ah, gotcha. And desalinization plants. Paint floral foam with graphene ink. Fill bucket with salt. H2O place. I will have to check that out, man. I don't know. I've heard so much about graphene. Like I hear about it like every day now. People talking about it, so it does make me wonder what we're doing here. But yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff coming, guys. I can't wait till I get my studio set up. I want to get it set up very, very soon so we can start hitting this because I do feel like. Just for a second, let me go off on a tangent. The Great Depression, you had a severe lack of information. When we had the 08 recession, I had the internet. And I had a house that had no centralized heat. I'd keep it. I'd get a job. I'd lose it. I get a job. I'd lose it. I get a job. I'd lose it. It was like, I can't remember. I got like 4 or 5 jobs in a row where I would go and I would work for like a month and then they would shut down the contract. And that just happened over and over again. And so we lived in a really cheap house with no electricity. I mean, we had electricity, no insulation, no heat, no air conditioning. And I mean, I just learned all these interesting ways to insulate the house, but I used the internet to do so. Anytime I've been hard up on something, I can go to the internet and I can say, how do I achieve this thing I need? How do I accomplish this? How do I get it? So the nice thing is that we have the ability to spread information, which actually really allows people to skip some of the hardships of poverty. So I really like that. And that's something I would like to do is like, okay, if something's working for me, maybe I can put that out there in video format. And the studio makes that easy, right? The studio means I've got a ready to go space where I can just set up shop, hammer stuff out, and be the most productive person there doing that kind of thing. So I'd like to start seeing a lot more of that. The only problem is I don't want to get caught in the trap of making videos that just for video's sake. Like, I would like to make videos that have the impact that I'm talking about here. Also allow me to document what I'm doing and creatively put stuff out there, and have a little bit of fun with it, right? Like I want to have a little bit of fun with it. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's videos that we can do. You guys probably have plenty of suggestions. That's actually something we're going to be doing in our Patreon for our patron supporters. I don't have the new tiers up. I've got this week. I'm working on the new tiers, but one of those is basically going to be a council, right? Where we're going to start shopping videos together and figuring out what kind of videos we want to do on the channel that have the stated goals that we've got. and we want to bring in our patrons on that. Excuse me. That's pretty much all I've got, I guess. I appreciate you letting me go on that tangent. I really think that okay, another tangent. If you haven't read A Deepness in the Sky and you love sci-fi, read A Deepness in the Sky. It is beautiful, and it is like so amazing to see these space traders and their whole like, oh, if we can collect information between all these disparate worlds, then maybe we can stop worlds from falling into darkness. There's that whole thread through the book. It's not the main thread of the book, but it's a great thread in the book, right? Check that out. Anyways, anything like that or A Fire Upon the Deep, both are fantastic reads in volatile times. So, all right, guys, I guess I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to go sit in the garden for a minute and smoke a cigar and just get an end to my day. Probably going to go to bed early tonight. So, hold on. It was placed floral foam atop a salt, water, and sun, and it produces fresh H2O through desalination and actually creates colder air than the surrounding environment. Interesting. Yes, I know it sounds crazy and counterintuitive. That is crazy sounding. But if that technology exists and it's an easy thing to do, I don't know why we wouldn't do it. We should totally look into that. Later, Plum, thank you. I also graduated college and entered the workforce in 2008. I was used to being broke for years. While everybody was complaining about no work, I got hustling. It's kind of what happened to me, too, is I just like, well, screw it. I could be broke, or it kind of started. I kind of went back to school. And then I started, like, I found out that we were on food stamps at the time. I found out that you could, at least in Tennessee, I think it's elsewhere, on EBT back in the day, you were able to buy garden seeds and garden plants. And so, like the first month of the season, Samantha and I would go and spend our entire month's worth of food stamps on garden plants and seeds. And then I would just plant and plant and plant like constantly while Samantha worked, because I started going to school and being a stay-at-home dad, and then working the garden and cooking and doing all that stuff. And then from there, that's how I got into mushrooms, actually, I wanted to grow mushrooms for the family, because that was like a luxury food that I could grow pretty easily, right? And all of a sudden, we're eating higher on the hog. But that was kind of the thing, is like, we were just like, okay, how do we do this? Let's get to hustling. And that was before I started learning about, like, you know, selling stuff or anything like that. Like, I got into selling mushrooms because people found out I grew mushrooms. I'd post pictures or whatever, and they'd be like, can I get some? And I was like, sure, $4 a pound. I don't know. And that seemed great to me back then, but now I realize $4 a pound was ridiculous. It also, like, I couldn't sell it for $4 a pound. And then when I jacked it up to $20 a pound at market, all of a sudden we sold off, like, everything off the table like crazy. So took a little less than poverty wage internship, which introduced me to people that landed my first job. If you know how to live with very little, it's a good skill. It's a great skill. And then that whole thing, like a less than poverty wage internship, a lot of people don't want to do that, but that is how you get contacts a lot of times. It's just going and working somewhere, being there. When times are hard, it offers huge opportunity for people who are motivated and willing to find the opportunities. Most will despair and complain, but people willing to hustle will get way ahead. I agree with that 90% of the time, for sure. Absolutely. There are people, I think, that are like, I do believe that we should have a social safety net. Because I do think that there's a certain percentage of the population that they have circumstances outside their control. But I think for the most part, getting creative and a little bit of hustle can really, really help a lot of people. And knowledge, like just being introduced to a pathway. Sometimes that's one of the best ways to go. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining the stream, hanging out, helping me pass the time with so quick. We're going to check in on the cardboard spawn next week. We'll just do a little quick check-in. See if we can see any growth, see if we can see any contamination. And, yeah, y'all. Thank you so much. Keep spawning culture.
step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends, writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg a plate a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order, make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep